I know a lot of women who've got breasts, OK? No problem at all. Yes, that's right, yeah.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes, and I'm delighted to say at the start of another week, it's time to say a very, very good morning to Mr. Mike, Porky Parry. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
And a very good morning to you, Mike. And I totally endorse what you just said about these Grammy Awards. I mean, the psycho fantasy and
what?
The sheer
psycho-fantasy.
Yeah, the sheer ridiculously of the showbiz community. Now, every time they get together, they've got to become a political bloc.
Oh, yeah.
You know, which is usually about, we love poor people, we're all speaking up for poor people, and I didn't want this award. My friend Beyonce should have got this award because, I've won it in 6 years now. That's Adele, sort of crocodile
tears.
Adele.
That's quite good, Adele.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Crying these crocodile tears for winning another award, I mean,
I'm ever so humble.
Self-indulgent nonsense.
Humble. She's sort of female version of Uriah Heep.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, oh, yeah, and I'm sorry I swore, but, I've loved George Michael. He means such a lot to me. Well, yeah, it meant a lot to a lot of people, but, we don't have to all go around effing and blinding about it, but there we go.
And also, this business of, I'm sorry to have to do it again, but I have to get it right.
Yeah.
I mean, almost that is almost all rehearsed as well now.
Yeah, stop, let's start again, got to get it right.
Thank God we don't do that, because we'd be starting all the way through the show.
Exactly, that's right.
We don't get a lot of things right.
No, well, speak for yourself on that one. And then old Ken Loach, who I've barely heard of. He's quite a famous film producer.
Ken Loach is a very famous filmmaker, yes. He's made some very good films, actually.
And stands up, an unelected man, to tell the world from his showbiz podium some of the actions of the government are disgraceful. All right, thanks, Ken, that's your opinion. But, there's quite a lot of people in this country who voted for policies which you are now interpreting as disgraceful.
And, of course, a lot of these refugee children that he says we promised to bring to this country that he says we're now not allowing in are quite
these are the 30-year-olds, are they?
Quite a lot bigger than him.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
How many of them put too fine a point on it.
How many of them are being accommodated by Mr. Loach and his Well,
I've got no doubt that Mr. Loach does good things for the community at large.
His dependents, eh?
I know, I'm sure he does good things for the community at large. I'm sure he gives a lot of money to charity and all of that stuff. Yeah. But, I mean, they are becoming a bit of a parody of themselves, these award ceremonies, aren't they?
That's what I'm saying. It's becoming so boring now. You've got old Meryl Streep over in America. You've got people here. Which awards were they, by the way?
Well, it was the Grammys in America. And it was the BAFTAs here.
Oh, the BAFTAs,
which is always the prelim to the Oscars.
Yeah, okay,
So we'll have more of that, won't we?
And the point is, what they don't
quite... Because Meryl Streep was at the Golden Globes. That was her...
That's right, yeah. What they don't quite understand is that these ceremonies are supposed to pay tribute to those of their profession who've done outstanding things and won outstanding awards.
Yeah.
But if you ask me now...
They've become very different things, haven't
they?
No,
if you ask me now, so who were the award winners and what were the films they won the awards for? I couldn't tell you.
No.
Because it's all... They're so selfish, these people.
Well, you must know that La La Land won a lot because that got lots of mentions.
I knew that. But what I'm saying... But some guy who wasn't fancied for the Best Support Actor award actually won it, I've never heard of him.
Who was it?
I don't know, that's what I mean. Because the problem is, those who are most famous, like Adele, like Ken Loach, decide that they will take up more time than the minnows who are surrounding them and all that kind of stuff. And therefore, they make it a personal ceremonial happening, I'm going to tell you what I think. Oh, no, I made George Michael and everything, And she sounded like... Sounded like that character, didn't she, from Great Britain or Little Britain? Little Britain, yeah.
Little Britain, yeah. Well, yeah, but no, but.
Yeah, but no, but.
No, you're not thinking of her as one of Britain's greatest exports, though, which she is, and I do quite like her music, but I just wish she would stop this faux act. Like the last time I was having a go at her when she went, oh, yeah, well, when I was doing the dishes the other night, and because I'd had some Chinese, and you go, come on, just come off it.
Yeah.
Just stop all that rubbish.
My mate Beyonce, she won this award, I think the last figures I saw, she earned 67 million quid last year, which is great. I love successful people.
She signed a new deal for 90 million.
That's right, yeah. I love successful people. And
Ken Loach, by the way, has done a couple of episodes of Z-Cars. So you should have heard of him.
Oh, well, okay,
doesn't mean you should sing the
song. But anyway, look, I think Adele's a great singer. I think she's a great businesswoman. I think she's very successful. But, they do abuse their position by saying, well, I got stage.
Yeah, but the thing is...
I'm going to tell you what my take on it is, which just happens to be the same take as the whole of the showbiz industry, because we all, like to say, we're very rich, so we got to look after them who aren't.
And did you see old Stephen Fry kissing Meryl Streep, right? And, both of them practically in tears.
Yeah.
He gets back up on the stage and says, my left cheek is now terribly jealous of my right cheek. Just because she only kissed me on one cheek. I mean, please, do me a favour.
And I tell you what, that all comes in a week when there's a row about David Davis, the MP, allegedly trying to kiss Diane Abbott, who allegedly...
Well, I don't think he was trying to kiss her.
Told him
I don't think you got that right.
Get lost, but in a rather ruder fashion.
No, I don't think you've got that right, have you? I don't think he wanted to kiss her. I think that was the point.
I'm saying alleging to attempt to kiss her. That's what I'm saying. And she was
I thought the point of his later response was to suggest that he wouldn't have wanted to kiss her.
Well, I don't think it was that. I think it was when he
was. Are you sure you haven't got that wrong?
No, I haven't got it wrong. I've got it absolutely right. The sequence of events is he did go over to try and be friendly and say, "Oh, come on, we won the vote. It was the vote over the Brexit bill, wasn't it? And she recoiled, and then in retaliation, of course, when all the tweets got out, he said, "Are you mad? You think I'm blind and all that?" So it's just a farrago of political small talk.
Yeah, that's a good word. Yeah, you're reading the Sunday Times again.
No, political small talk.
Anyway, I'm far more interested in this picture of you carrying 2 boxes of pizza on your head.
Well,
what on earth are you doing? Well, it looks a bit murky.
Where do we draw the line here? So somebody takes a picture of me walking home one evening over the weekend. Okay. Yeah. And they send it to you.
With your healthy diet fully explained.
They send it to you, so this is a stalker-like picture, right? Because I wasn't aware of that picture ever being taken.
You've been papped, basically.
I think you'll find, if you look at the quality of the picture, it's very sort of misty and grainy, which means that there wasn't a light on that camera. It was taken, so I wasn't aware of it.
It looks like you would have seen a flash going off.
No, I didn't. I didn't see any flash going.
Sure?
So anyway, the point of the story is, I did go into a Pizza's on the way home.
I don't think you can deny that you're carrying 2 boxes of what looks very like pizza on the top of your head.
Well, I am. It
says Fresh Dough Daily.
Yes, I am.
I can't see a manufacturer's name, but that may be just as well, because they may not wish to be associated with you.
Well, I can tell you it was Domino's Pizza.
Why are you telling me that?
Well, only because,
we don't have to give that name out.
I'm being quite frank and open about it. And the thing is that...
you don't deny that it's you, then?
Well, no, of course I don't deny it's me. But the thing is, I went into this Domino's on the way home quite late, and I thought I'll order a pizza.
Had you been out somewhere?
I'd been out, yeah. Been talking to people.
Really?
So anyway, what happened?
You didn't have dinner then?
I hadn't had dinner, no. Been a bit of a liquid celebration.
Evening.
Yes,
that's
right.
a funny thing.
So anyway, what happens is, I sort of... Actually, I went off and had another drink while I was waiting for the pizza to be made,
really?
To be honest. Yes, I did, because I don't like sitting around in pizza bars looking useless, you know what I mean?
No, that wouldn't be good. Why not go and sit somewhere else and look useless?
And it was going to take 15... I'll ignore that. And it was going to take 15 minutes. So anyway, when I came back... I said, I told them my name. They said, oh, no, we know your name, don't worry. And I said, right, OK. I've got my pizza. And she gave me 2. And I said...
Why did you get 2 pizzas?
Well, this is what I didn't understand. I said, I only ordered 1. She said, no, you didn't. You paid for the buy 1, get 1 free.
Yeah. Bog off.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And I said, oh, right, OK. And I thought, well, how am I going to get this home? Because, see, normally speaking, when I've got
Is it far from your establishment?
I would say it was 8 minutes walk.
8 minutes?
Yeah.
That's quite a long time to have pizza on your head.
Yeah, well, no, the point is, normally with 1, I can actually, I transport it in a fashion where I hold it to my hip, you see what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Because the one thing you have to do with pizza is you cannot let it diverge from total horizontal presence. Okay?
Horizontally, yes.
Because if you tip a pizza up, you know what happens? It all crushes itself inside the box.
Yeah, it does, yeah. And also it starts leaking out the
box. It does, absolutely right.
And it's also that fiery hot temperature, which is like sort of, it's like something out of a nuclear rod.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So what you have to do is you have to keep it completely horizontal. Now, there's 2 ways of transporting pizza when you're walking.
Yeah.
And that is you either hold it out in front of you and look stupid, OK?
Well, you don't have to worry about looking stupid.
Well, you do.
I mean, I think it's safe to say you look pretty stupid
carrying
it on your head.
No, you look like a butler carrying it to, like a tray.
Well, the problem as well with carrying it out front is you can trip. Because if you're not paying attention, you can miss the fact that there's maybe a curb,
a pavement or something,
especially if you're bladder.
So I normally hold it to my right against my hip in a horizontal fashion. The problem is,
right,
to my right,
Oh yeah.
So my,
that doesn't look right
my arm is on the far side of the box.
That would not look right.
Well, that looks all right, but you're very wide when you're going down the pavement and getting in other people's ways.
Or you could get one of those bikes with a rack.
Yeah, well, hang on, I didn't have a bike, did I? The point is, I had 2, so it was too heavy to do the side version. It was too heavy to hold it out front, so I thought, I know what I'll do, so I put it on my head, and that kept it absolutely horizontal.
And you managed to do that for 8 minutes?
Yes, I did. Yes, that's right, yeah.
And what sort of pizza did you get?
Ham and pineapple on one side, and mushroom on the other.
Just one side, ham and pineapple?
Yes.
So they're both the same? the 2-for-1s?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
So you had actually a whole ham and pineapple and a whole mushroom.
I suppose I did, really, yeah.
Did you eat it all?
No.
Well, where's the rest of it?
Most of it's in the freezer.
Is it?
Yes. I only had 4 slices.
Oh, how many slices were there?
10 in each pizza.
10 in each, so 20 slices, you had 4.
Yes,
you got 16 slices of pizza in the oven.
I have, yes.
Or in the freezer.
In the freezer, I have, yes, yeah.
Dear God,
definitely.
It's the time, by the way.
Yeah, well, don't worry about the time, mate.
If you're talking about Manchester City going second.
Well, I think we should.
Yeah, it's also Valentine's Day as well. You've had a couple of messages.
It is Valentine's Day.
I'll let you know what they say.
Yes.
This is Talk Sport. Talk Sport, we are the two mics. It is, of course, Valentine's Day. We're talking to Tim Vickery coming up a little bit later on, and we will be talking to Steve Lillywhite as well. See whether he shares our view about the Grammys. He's won quite a few Grammys in his time. Now, here's one for you, which is coming from Julia, and it's a little track of the Beatles, She Loves You. And he says, Happy Valentine's Day, my pork chop, I love you, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, that's very kind, Julie. Thank you very much indeed. I will, of course, send you a response. That's very, very kind of you. Yeah, 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 by the way, is spelled Y-E-H. And she's got, yeah, 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 Y-E-R,
Yeah.
Y-E-R, Y-E-R.
Yeah, but it's a colloquialism, isn't it?
No, it's... But listen, I'm not knocking it. It's great. Thank you very much indeed, Julie, for thinking of me. I, of course, have not expressed any Valentine's, what's the word I'm looking for? Wishes to anybody yet. Because
what do you mean yet?
Well, the point is, people get jealous. You know, if I started saying, you know, Happy Valentine's to this person or that person or another person...
People get jealous?
Oh, yeah.
What sort of people?
Well, other people who think that
you suggested there's women fighting over you?
Yes, I am, yes. Certainly in terms of my affections on Valentine's Day. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
How about this one from Kenny?
Yeah.
It says, pizza delivery, man of the pizza. Ha ha.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, good man.
Scottish Bull says, I hate to burst your bubble, Porky, but Domino's isn't really pizza. It's garbage and costs an arm and a leg.
Rubbish. I like it. It's best. Well, I like it. I like Pizza Express, by the way. I think that's good stuff. So I like that as well. I like almost all pizza, to be honest.
Really? Well, how about this from Matthew? It says, Papa John's, the Porky Way, pizza delivery. What a plank.
Papa John's I've never tried. There is one near me in a place called Banstead, and I must get in there sometime and give that a try. Definitely,
I had a bit of a 3-for-2 episode over the weekend.
Oh,
in fact,
what was that?
Earlier on today.
Yeah.
Well, I was in town buying a couple of bits and pieces, and I managed to find a parking spot, very unusually. Found a parking spot actually on the street. Normally, you know, you have to go to a car park.
Which town was this in?
This was in one of the towns in Sussex, near where I live, right? And I bought some sausages for the kids for dinner, and I thought, oh, well, while I'm here, I'll go over
sausages.
They wanted some sausages for dinner, yeah.
Oh, is this healthy food, sausages?
Sausages are perfectly healthy, yeah.
You know, just accuse me of eating rubbish pizza, you know.
No, there's nothing wrong with eating sausages, as long as they're decent sausages.
Yeah,
Not that rubbish Richmond stuff that you eat, the skinless ones.
And what do you call a decent sausage?
Well, I go to the butcher and I get the sausages that he makes.
Yeah, with a
which
thick,
are very nice.
Gristly...
Not at all, no. No, I go to a butcher who actually hand-makes sausages.
What's it called? A thick, grizzly skin, yeah.
No, not a thick, grizzly skin. In fact, the particular butcher I go to was given an award by Gordon Ramsay for his sausages.
Oh, yeah?
So they're rather good. Anyway, so I saw Boots opposite, and I thought, well, while I'm here, because I can never go to the shops that are on the high street. No, I thought I'd get some Nurofen Plus because we'd run out of it at the house, right?
Nurofen? What do you need that for?
Nurofen Plus because there was some sickness in the house over the weekend.
But Nurofen's for headaches, isn't it?
Well, it's for all sorts of things. It's paracetamol. I mean, painkiller. I mean, if you're feeling fluey or something, you can take it.
Seems to have a lot of drugs in your house.
I wouldn't say that. Why would you say that because you've got some paracetamol? There would be a lot of drugs in the house.
Well, I don't have any paracetamol in my house.
How many pills do you take in a day?
About 16 at the moment.
Yeah, and the last time you bought yourself a bucket load of drugs, you looked like you'd walked in from the Medellin cartel.
Well, I have to have
you
a
had
lot.
about 5 carrier bags
true.
full.
It's absolutely true.
So for you to suggest to me that I've got a lot of drugs in my house, I think it's slightly off the mark.
Anyway, go on, 3-2.
Anyway, so anyway, I walk into Boots, it's a very small Boots.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, look, there's some nice 3-for-2 offers on some shampoo and conditioners. I thought, well, I'll buy some of that as well.
Excellent.
Because you can never have too much of shampoo and conditioner.
You can't,
and it was
especially
rather
with
nice.
hair like yours.
Well, exactly. I need to do a lot of stuff to my hair, as you can see.
Yeah.
So I go up to the counter, right? And there's quite a nice old lady behind the counter. And I said, are these 3-for-2? Oh, yes, that's right. I said, fine, thank you very much. Could I have one of the boxes of Nurofen Plus, please?
Yes.
And she said, no, I'm sorry, I'm afraid I can't sell you that.
Right.
And I said, why not? And she said, well, the pharmacist is at lunch.
Right.
And I said, well, what's that got to do with me? I said, I don't really care.
It's over-the-counter
It's an
stuff.
over-the-counter drug.
Yeah.
I mean, Nurofen Plus is behind the counter rather than in front of it. Yeah. But nevertheless, it's not, a prescription drug.
Ridiculous.
I said, well, why can't I buy some? Well, the pharmacist's out for lunch. I said, well, I've never heard anything so ridiculous in my life.
What's the pharmacist going to do? Judge whether you're suitable to buy it or not?
Well, they always ask you when you buy it, you know, is this for your own use?
Yes.
To which I always say yes. Are you taking any other medication? No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easier to buy crack than it is to buy this stuff.
Yeah, it is, I agree.
So eventually, this woman says, I said, well, when is the pharmacist deign to be getting back from lunch?
Yeah.
Oh, 2:30.
Yeah, what time is it now?
2:15. I said, so you expect me to sit here for 15 minutes waiting for the pharmacist to come back from lunch? I said, why haven't you got somebody to cover for the pharmacist?
Yes.
By this time, there were people sort of gathering behind me.
That's right, yeah.
Thinking that I was being terribly London and very sort of, impatient. And eventually, I said, well, I'm not waiting.
Yeah.
And she said, well, I'm terribly sorry. There's nothing I can do. Those are the rules. I said, well, the most ridiculous rules I've ever heard. Yeah. I said, you keep your shampoo as well.
So you
and
didn't
I stormed out.
Good man. Well done. I like that, yeah.
Unbelievable.
People would call you petulant.
Only in Britain. I could hear them mumbling behind me, what's wrong with him?
Yeah, petulant, short-tempered. But, of course you were right to say that, who made these ridiculous rules that I can't have the Nurofen because the pharmacist isn't here? That's a nonsense.
I know. It's also, I'll tell you, here's another one you could try. Yeah. Try and buy Lemsip sachets and Lemsip capsules at the same time. They won't sell them to you.
Why?
In case you overdose on Lemsip.
In case you overdose on Lemsip, yeah. And yet, if
ridiculous thing
if you'd have gone into the off-licence next door, they'd have sold you a bottle of whiskey, which, of course, could have killed you in 10 minutes. Yeah. How did you decide to drink it all at the same time?
And take all 32 paracetamols.
Exactly, yeah.
But luckily for me, my life has been saved because the pharmacist was at lunch.
Yeah. Hey, listen, talking about drink, by the way. Yeah. Talking about drink, have you seen that the authorities are now clamping down on the amount of bladderation that's going to take place at the Cheltenham Festival?
You won't be at all surprised to know that when I saw that story, I immediately thought of you, because you're only allowed to now buy 4 drinks at a time.
That's right, yeah.
And whenever I see you at Cheltenham, you've usually got at least 4 drinks on the go.
I know, and another absolutely vicious rule they're going to introduce is that the bars have now got to close after the last race.
Oh, is that right?
Whereas at the moment, I mean, it's such a ridiculous...
I mean, why are they pretending that Cheltenham is not a massive booze fest?
It's so ridiculous. At the moment, the bars in the boxes can close half an hour after the last race. Right. So that means the last race usually finishes maybe 5:30, 5:45. You can say the quarter past 6.
And I normally miss the last race if we're there, don't we?
We do. We leave before. Most people leave before the last race, to be honest, because they try and get away before the traffic and all that kind of stuff.
Unless you actually can't move.
Yeah, exactly. So this is complete and utter nonsense, And you can only drink 4. You can only buy 4 drinks at a time. Yeah. Well, that suits me fine because normally I'm only with one other person, probably yourself.
Well, to be honest, you don't.
I'd go and get us a couple of glasses each.
To be honest, we're not normally buying the drinks.
No, we're not normally.
I mean, there's no point pretending that.
No, people usually bring us drinks, so that's fine. So, it says here, horse racing chiefs are to restrict alcohol at some of the highlights of the sporting calendar in an attempt to curb the antisocial behaviour and drunkenness that has tarnished recent meetings.
But have any of these people ever been to Cheltenham? I mean, presumably they know that the drinking starts on the trains, the drinking starts in the bars of Cheltenham before they get up to the racecourse. It
starts in the bars of London railway stations before anybody gets there.
Exactly. Yeah. And probably if you're coming over from Dublin, the drinking starts, the day before. Yeah. I mean, they're hardly going to curb people getting over-bladderated by saying you can only buy 4 drinks at a time.
It says here that this is a response to last year when on the second day of the festival was marred by newspaper photographs of footballers getting drunk.
Oh, yeah.
Wow-wee.
Well, yeah, but they're in a box anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So
of course they are.
So they were getting free drink, basically.
And women bearing their breasts.
Really?
Well, I totally disagree with that. I think that's absolutely lewd behaviour.
Shocking.
Which you shouldn't have to be subjected to. Nevertheless, this will extend to Royal Ascot, Wimbledon and the Grand Prix. Say the organisers, because all these events are ones which attract huge crowds.
But don't they realise that an awful lot of the bladderation takes place in private boxes?
Absolutely.
Where nobody's buying drinks anyway.
Absolutely.
And everybody is just getting as much down their neck as they possibly can.
Yeah. Listen to this.
In fact, those were the footballers wearing the Peaky Blinders hats, weren't they?
I think they were,
I noticed you're wearing that in the pizza picture.
Well, that was to cover my head while I had the pizza boxes on my head, so I didn't burn my head.
Yeah.
It says here, 2 years ago, the Cheltenham course underwent an upgrade costing $50 million, which included include a new grandstand named after the Princess Royal. Bars in hospitality boxes will close at the end of racing instead of half an hour afterwards.
Right.
That's rubbish.
I know.
Do you think there's going to be like the drinks police walking up and down the corridors saying, close your bar, close your bar?
All that's going to happen is that it's going to cause more problems, isn't it? Because there'll be bound to be somebody who will get worked up about the fact that you can't get another drink.
Yes, that's right.
And so, it's never done like this before.
Yeah, they're also going to gerrymander information, right, in order to try and push this through. Okay. So, for instance, Cheltenham will also stop making a virtue, that's in inverted commas, in pre-festival publicity of the amount of drink consumed. The 2015 publicity said that 265,000 pints of Guinness, 120,000 bottles of wine.
Have they told anyone at Guinness about this plan?
I don't know. 20,000 bottles of champagne were all drunk. You're absolutely right. I mean,
a Guinness tent is one of the famous and most lovely places to go in the Cheltenham Festival week.
Mike, it's not even a Guinness tent. It's called the Guinness Village,
well, that's what I mean.
There's about 6 or 8 bars in the Guinness in the Guinness Village, all tented. Because that's how much people like drinking Guinness at Cheltenham.
And there's not a Bollinger tent as well.
Yeah, of course there's a Bollinger tent. There's everything. I mean, it's
Moet and Shandon. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I thought... Did I not see, those big 4x4 Bentleys that were going up and down the racecourse?
That's right.
Have they not got a Moet and Shandon stamp on them?
I think they've got some sort of a stamp on them. But, it is utter nonsense. What you've got to do is, you haven't got to start restricting and curbing the amount of booze available. Yeah. You've got to start punishing those who can't act in a civilised and sensible fashion when they take a drink. When was the last time?
They're going to punish everyone for the aptitude of a few idiots.
Exactly. When was the last time somebody in this country was arrested for being drunk and disorderly? I cannot remember it.
Probably about an hour ago.
No, it wasn't. They just don't do it anymore. What they do is they say, oh, look, that person, that girl there, she's had far too much. I tell you what, call an ambulance. Let's help her out. What they should say is, right, get her in the back of the Black Maria, get her off to Nick. She's spending a night in the cells, or he's spending a night in the cells. Drunkenness should not be tolerated in public places, and anybody who decides that they're going to get bladderated at Cheltenham, stagger onto the track, and then start having physical intercourse with a member of the opposite sex.
And what about the same sex?
Or even that, they should be arrested on sight and banned for life from sporting arenas.
Excellent.
That's the way to fight it.
All right, OK, if you say so. It's going to be happening in Aintree and the Derby as well.
That's the way to fight it.
Yeah, all right. Porky's gone mad. This is Talk Sport. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. There's lots going on this week.
Hey, there is a lot going on.
What do you mean?
I mean, we've just been talking about bladderation, Cheltenham and all that. What about this punch-up in this bar in Trowbridge?
Well, when you say this bar...
What on earth is going on?
Excuse me, it was not in this bar in Trowbridge.
It was a bar in Trowbridge.
It was a Wetherspoons.
Well, Wetherspoons is a bar, believe it or not.
Yeah, but I think it's important where it was.
Why?
And what it was.
Why are you picking on Wetherspoons?
Why are you seeking to hide the name?
I'm not seeking to hide the name at all.
You're quite happy to name Domino's as your pizza's maker of choice.
So what? Listen.
And you're quite happy to mention Wetherspoons every other 5 minutes.
Well, no, I'm
Suddenly
not.
Now when there's a mass brawl, like something out of the Wild West movies.
It was, actually. Have you seen the video footage? I mean, everybody's going for it.
It's absolutely awful. And what I noticed was it's all men in there.
Yeah, nobody seems to know how it started, but there's one report that somebody got 5 pints of beer knocked over. I mean, that would infuriate you.
Well, I mean, some people were on Twitter. I mean, I must say, that ridiculous picture of the guy with the toilet seat round his head, I've never seen more of this kind of viral nonsense. Yeah. Everyone was sending me a tweet today.
Yes.
So I must have had about 2,000.
Have
you seen this story from Trowbridge?
Yeah, I know. It's amazing.
I don't mean to be in any way dismissive of our Twitter followers.
No.
But by the time it got to about 7 o'clock tonight, yes, I had seen it about a million times.
Yeah.
It seems to have been a fight that started between 2 or 3 people.
Well, they always normally start that way, don't they? But
I've never seen a fight in a bar which goes from 2 to 3.
Well, exactly.
To 100.
And then spreads like that.
But a lot of people were suggesting it was either Mike Parry having not been able to find his phone.
Yes, right.
Like the episode the other week.
Or they'd run out of fish and chips.
Well, they run out of fish and chips. Or spilling your beer over all those guys like you did last week.
Well, that's right. Yeah,
luckily you didn't do that. Well, don't ever do that in Trowbridge.
No, I won't. No.
And lots and lots of Mr. Mike Parry related jibes.
Yeah, basically. But you see, it's not so much which bar it happened in; it's which town it happened in. Because Trowbridge is supposed to be a sleepy Wiltshire town, isn't it?
Trowbridge is a terrible place.
Is it?
Yeah,
it's in Wiltshire, isn't it?
Yeah, it is in Wiltshire.
Is it really awful?
I used to live not far from Trowbridge.
Really?
I used to live between Trowbridge and Devizes.
But you wouldn't go there.
Never went to Trowbridge, really.
Really?
For any reason. It's not a nice place.
I see. So it's a right.
I mean, so you've got this idyllic view of Wiltshire.
Yeah,
where you
that's
think
right.
It's all kind of thatched cottages and warm beer and the sound of willow on leather and all
that's
that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's nothing like that.
Oh,
it's an absolute shambles of a place.
Bit of a disappointment, now, isn't it? Yeah.
In fact, John Hearn is from Trowbridge, I believe.
He's not, is he?
I think so. Yeah. Unfortunately, he's not here tonight.
He looks a bit dodgy most of the time.
Yeah, but but I mean, there are some beautiful parts of Wiltshire all around it.
Yes.
But Trowbridge itself, it's a bit like Swindon. I mean, we were talking about Swindon the other day.
Sorry.
We were talking about Swindon the other day.
We were, yeah.
Trowbridge...
there's Swindon good and Swindon bad, isn't there?
Well, there's mostly bad in
Swindon Old Town,
Pop-up brothels everywhere.
Oh, come off it. Listen, I've got one here from Adam. He says, brilliant response from MG to Porky asking about his drunk and disorderly question. He asked, when was somebody last arrested for being drunk and disorderly in this town? MG said an hour ago. It can't be.
How about this from Woodenhead? It's Valentine's Day, but I haven't got the girlfriend a card yet. Shall I get her a lingerie-based newspaper message instead?
No. And anyway, if you did, it'd be far too late now, mate. You have to book those about 2 weeks in advance. Believe me, there's a demand for them.
Have you done one this year?
No, I haven't.
No secret Valentine's message anywhere?
No. I am taking some Valentine's flowers to somebody tomorrow.
Are you?
Yes.
What sort of flowers are you getting?
I'll get like a mixed collection. What's they called?
What do you mean a mixed collection?
Well, like a big bunch.
Do you mean a bouquet?
Bouquet, that's the one,
A mixed collection of what, though?
Well, they put all sorts of things in them, don't they?
No, you got to get roses. No, you want lilies. You don't want lilies, you want roses.
Roses. I'll get some roses, don't worry. I'll get some roses.
What colour?
Red.
Red. Yeah. So this is quite a serious relationship then.
But the...
How many?
Hey?
How many?
Probably about 2 dozen. Well, there'll be some blue in as well, but it's not actually
red and blue.
It's not actually
a Crystal Palace fan.
No, it's not actually for one individual. It's for a group of individuals. You see what I mean?
What have you been doing
to express my sort of appreciation?
Involved in some kind of ménage à trois?
No, not at all.
A group of individuals.
A group of individuals. Yeah.
See, they say funny stuff goes on down in Stockgrape about Surrey, but I had no idea it was like group sex.
There's, already
that's horrendous.
No, there's no group sex. Thought. Honestly, there's already you see all the Valentine's messages coming in. Some
of
them
they call it in Germany, by the way.
Well.
Gruppensexen.
Oh, Gruppensexen. Now, we have ways of making you have Gruppensexen. Now bend over. Sorry. The reason I said that was, did you read over the weekend that Britain's most famous pornographic actor is called Bend Over?
Yes, I've heard of him, yeah.
And apparently he's knackered.
It's not his real name.
No, he's ill or something. He's got some illness. He's got to retire.
Oh, dear.
He's got something broken or bent or something.
No, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, back to Cheltenham. Paul says it's a nonsense, but last few years I've seen more and more drunken people same at Aintree as well. It's not about the racing anymore.
Yeah.
Brunton says, I went on the Friday last year, and it was an absolute ale fest. Half the people at Cheltenham were hammered before the first race. It was terrific.
Yeah, well, it always happens. Now, the Valentine's message is coming in. Luxury Lizzie, of course, a regular correspondent. I don't care if anyone is jealous that your Valentine wishes come my way. Thousands of men will be well gel. Well, I think she speaks for the female population.
Well, maybe. Some portion of it. Anyway, Dennis says, one of those people definitely being angry about no drink after the races will be Porky and maybe Alan Brazil.
Oh, I don't think we should get into that, please. You know, the standard behaviour within TalkSport is impeccable at all times. I can tell you that.
Certainly is, yeah. John says, Domino's pizzas are awful. Tell Porky Iceland's Italian-style sweet chili pizza is only £1.50.
Really?
Don't be fooled by the price.
I never buy pizza that's pre-packed from supermarkets. It's never the same to me. I like it freshly cooked and then you take it out.
You never buy, because you can buy Pizza Express pizza in some supermarkets now.
Oh, can you? I didn't know that. No, well, actually, I prefer to go and order it and take it home. But anyway, Julia has forgiven me for pointing out that yeah is spelled Y-E-H.
Yeah.
She says, that's why I love my pork chop. Teaches me something new every day. Yeah. OK, Julia, thank you very much indeed. It's very kind of you. A lot of goodwill around tonight. It must be because it's Valentine's Day.
Well, because sometimes it's nice to be good to people and nice to people, isn't it?
Yes.
Scott says, I'm going to Cheltenham this year and I've started drinking already.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, Mark here's got it absolutely right. He says, Porky, isn't it obvious why MG's got Nurofen in his house? What about his excessive bladderation at weekends? Well, that's a very good point.
No, well, I don't have Nurofen in the house for that reason. I have Nurofen in the house because people get sick, and if they want a pill to take that pain away, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But actually, I don't get hangovers, really. Yeah. I never have.
No, I don't really, but I don't drink very much these days, to be honest. Now then, Mark says, very cruelly, is that photo taken after the brawl, Porky? Because you were in Wetherspoons and a few of the great unwashed came and sat near you at your table. That's a very cruel thing to say, isn't it?
Well, it looks like I have to say that the Trowbridge Wetherspoons looks to be completely rammed with the great unwashed. Yeah. But the only thing I found odd about it, was that the police, and I said the inquiries are continuing, have only arrested one guy.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Presumably they turned up when it was all still kicking off.
That's right,
I mean, it's like you say, why don't they arrest people anymore?
I don't know. I think it's disgraceful. If you arrested people for being drunk and disorderly instead of sending them to hospital or asking them to lie down while they got a medic to go and treat them, the world would be a better place.
Well, can you imagine in the old days what would have happened, right? There would have been about 6 police officers would have turned up with truncheons and joined in.
Yeah, and started
cracking
skulls, I agree.
No, they're not allowed to do that anymore.
Now, one presumably female follower of ours here says, Porky, will you be my Valentine? I ask only because you're so close to kicking the bucket and you could stick me in your will.
That's a bit harsh.
That's very nice, isn't it?
Who's that from?
Well, I don't know what the name is, actually.
Well, can you not see a name?
I can see a name, but I don't wish to repeat it, thank you.
Why, is it not for a family show?
Well, not really. Not really. And another one from Julia. She's got a picture of a bear with pizza. She says, there you are, smarter than the average horizontal pizza bear. Thank you very much indeed.
This one from James. He says, is Porky a swinger? # group and sex.
Group and sex.
How about this from Becky?
Be quiet. We are ready to start the group and sex.
I mean, I tell you what, the Germans are a bit like that. They've got a starting pistol for everything. We used to go on these golfing trips, with the Germans. My dad and my mother and I used to go when I was quite young. And they were all like, you'd be sitting having breakfast in one of these lovely hotels somewhere in Europe. Yeah. And the guy who was the sort of captain of the German side would come marching in and say, is he on the tee now? And all the Brits, of course, were completely hungover and bladderated. We're going, we're fine, we'll be there in a minute. No, you must be on the tee. No, they don't understand anything that's not punctual.
I mean, the greatest exponent was Herr Flick, wasn't he?
Yes.
In Hello. Yes. Viva, I'll shoot him in the morning. And Ian here says, this is brilliant, they have ways of making you bend over. Ha, 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 German joke.
Yeah, Becky says this. Why is the love of my life 12,000 miles away? Could cook a fish finger pyramid and pear tart. # Porky Valentines.
Yeah, that's another reason given for the riot. Apparently they ran out of fish finger pyramids.
Yeah, that could have happened as well.
In Wetherspoons, yeah.
A couple of different views of Trowbridge. Tom says, you're correct, MG. Trowbridge is a terrible place.
Yeah.
And Nat says, Swindon is great. There are some bad bits, but most places do. Yeah. I should know. I live in Swindon. Well, I should know, Nat. I've been to Swindon many times. Yes. Thank you very much. I got divorced in Swindon, and I used to stop off there on the train on a regular basis rather than go all the way to Chippenham to get a taxi back to where I lived. So I can tell you that I've seen the worst of Swindon and the best of it. And I'm afraid the worst wins.
I bet you have.
Anyway, we've got Tim Vickery coming up next.
Excellent.
Rio de Janeiro, pode chegar que o povo é maneiro. Rio de Janeiro, pode chegar que o povo é maneiro.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. We've got loads and loads of tweets coming in. I'll tell you what, we did have a very successful thing last week when we did the Facebook Live Porky quiz and Postman Pork. So we're going to tonight. We haven't yet decided which bit of the show, but tonight we're going to put it out live on Periscope.
Definitely.
So for all those people who were not able to access the Facebook situation because you only have Twitter, this will be your night.
Periscope up.
So Periscope up, as they say, in social media climes. Now, that music is very unfamiliar to lots of people because normally we play Roxy Music's Virginia Plain.
That's right.
But it is time, of course, to welcome Mr. Tim Vickery from Rio. Tim, a very good morning to you.
Good morning to you, gentlemen. And I fear that Roxy Music's Virginia Plain may well have been more appropriate than the excellent piece of music than you just played from Sil Georgi, which is talking about Rio. Yeah, you can come because the people are great and welcoming and nice and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Not really true at the moment, I fear. And we're living in difficult times. There was a game last night in Rio Derby, Flamengo against Botafogo, at the stadium that hosted the Athletics during the Olympic Games a few months back.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I was going to go to the games, only a last-minute decision not to go because Danny Kelly called me to go on Trans-Europe Express last night, so I didn't go to the game. As a citizen, I'm very happy that I didn't go. As a journalist, I'm a little bit gutted because we had all sorts of confusion and riots going on outside the stadium, which ended up with 8 supporters in hospital, 1 dead, 1 still, 2 still in hospital, 1 seriously injured. Right. Now, this is part of, you remember the prison riots that we had here last month when people were being decapitated? It's a whole crisis of public security. The police are at the front end of this. And there are police like taking strike action or working to rule and so on. And the police didn't turn up in time to police this game, a Rio Derby. So outside the stadium, it was an absolute free-for-all. Now, that isn't the fault of the police. That's the fault of supporters who are fighting each other with iron bars. The one who died was a victim of a drive-by shooting. So just rival fans driving by, just taking pot shots. This is just inhuman.
Has this just come from nowhere, or has it been kind of bubbling under the surface for a while?
Well, I fear this type of violence in Brazilian society is just getting worse and worse and worse.
Well,
and
it can't be safe to walk the streets these days where you live now, Tim, can it?
Well, I mean, the policing resources were really stretched yesterday because it's a summer Sunday. Now, what sometimes happens under these conditions is you get, I think you used to call it steaming in England, bunches of youths just steaming down the beach en masse, robbing anything and anyone that they can. As well, we've got Carnival coming up in a couple of weeks. So there were kind of pre-Carnival blocks out in the streets, which also needs policing. So the police resources were very stretched. And there is this climate of tension. I've really noticed it. You know, the economy hasn't been good for some time, but it was going down from a fairly high base of almost full employment. Just in the last 2 or 3 months, I've really noticed the extra tension in the streets, and there will be times when that tension explodes. So the football violence has a lot to do with football. It's football as the mobilising point where people are looking to knock 9 bells out of each other. But it is obviously not only football's problem. There are wider things happening in society, unfortunately.
Well, when you say wider things happening in society, what was this particular fight about last night? Was it drug-related or the drug gangs? Or it can't just be 2 sets of football fans, can it? Driving around with guns in the car.
It can just be 2 sets of football fans.
Really?
Yeah, it can, and it is.
Listen, just transfer it to Britain. Are you telling me that Manchester City versus Manchester United and fans are driving around in cars, sitting in the back with guns, shooting opposition fans?
Yes.
Wow.
That's exactly it. I mean, I've been known to get stroppy with cars who jump red lights and so on here. Yeah. And my girlfriend and my 2 adult stepdaughters, they always try and stop me. Don't do it. You never know when you're going to get a gun pulled on you. And there are so many stories of just banal deaths. You know, there was one. It was the son of a samba star got killed on Sunday. I think it was a spanner or something like that. It was just a traffic road rage incident, and then ends up with him losing his life. I've got a real affection for this country, but it does really worry me that the moment that it's going through at the moment.
It sounds a bit like South Africa has been at times, you know, in terms of, you know, the sort of just random acts of incredible violence. For no reason. I mean, you know, it's bad enough in this country when, you know, somebody jumps you and maybe takes your wallet or something like that. But in countries like South Africa and Brazil, you could get killed for that.
Yeah, and I was just meeting a mate on Saturday who travels the world talking about global health systems. That's what he does. And he said, you know, this place reminds me of South Africa in exactly that aspect. You know, and every time I come back to England, I do wander around, and maybe it's a false feeling, I don't know these days, but I do wander around at all hours with a total feeling of safety. And it's the thing that my better half, who's from Brazil, it's the thing that she absolutely loves about coming over to England, just being able to wander around 2 o'clock in the morning with no fear at all.
Sure. And let's hope it stays like that. Meanwhile, Tim, is there any football going on there of any consequence? What about this story about the Libertadores team from Argentina?
Yeah, this was going on, or this story was building while we were speaking last week. Right. I couldn't quite fit it in, and it hadn't played it out fully. So we can tell it now. Qualifying round of the Libertadores, this is a team from Argentina called Atlético Tucumán, from the northern provinces of Argentina. It's the first time they have ever played in an international competition. It's the biggest thing that's happened to them in 115 years. The first leg, they draw at home 2-2. To El Nacional of Ecuador, who play at Quito, altitude. Now, altitude really takes it out on the unacclimatised player. So what a lot of teams do when they go to Quito is they go up to Ecuador, but they stay at sea level at Guayaquil and fly up as close to kickoff time as possible. That way, the altitude has less of an effect.
Right.
But there's a problem there. What if you come unstuck? And they came unstuck. For whatever reason, their plane was not allowed to take off. Now, this is a continent traumatised by the Chapecoense air disaster.
Sure.
So maybe there's something in that. It also could be the case that the team that they were playing were formed by Ecuador's armed forces. So maybe there was some strokes pulled there. I don't know. But whatever happened, they couldn't take off. That flight was not authorised. So they hurriedly, the players are at the airport and messing around for hours and hours at the airport. The club has to hurriedly organise another charter flight. They get there, they get to Quito after the kickoff time. Now, the rules say that you can wait for 45 minutes and then it's a walkover. The Argentine ambassador, he gets them waved through immigration as quickly as possible. They get into a coach. It moves 130 kilometres an hour between the airport and the stadium. It's lucky it didn't hit anyone on the way.
Yeah.
They didn't have their shirts. Yeah. So when they arrived at the stadium, straight out, it's the same stadium where the Under-20 Championships was taking place. So they just wore the shirts of Argentina's Under-20 side with the right numbers, but just with different names on the back. And they went out and they won 1-0, only in the Copa Libertadores.
Wow.
That is only a couple of Libertadores, but also a couple of decent performances from a couple of ex-Premier League players.
Yeah, I think fans of Newcastle and Blackburn Rovers and Man City will be happy to find out that two of their exes got on very well. Diego Gavilan, who had a brief spell with Newcastle United, a midfielder, he's at the age of 36, he's now a coach. It makes me furious when the coaches are 15 years younger than I am. Now, his team, debut year in the Libertadores, Capiatá, from the outskirts of Paraguay's capital, they'd lost their first leg 3-1 at home to Universitario of Peru. So that's surely all over. No, it isn't. Second leg, they go to Peru and they win 3-0. And one name more famous, played very well for Blackburn Rovers, not quite so well for Man City because of his injuries, Roque Santa Cruz, who I saw in the Libertadores all the way back in 1999 when he was a beanpole 17-year-old. He's still a beanpole, but he's much, much older these days. Just gone back home to Olympia, where he started his career, and they were on their way out. They were within 10 minutes of losing and going out on the away goals rule. And he, with a towering header, a characteristic towering header, he scores the goal that takes Olympia into the next round. And I'll be seeing him on Wednesday night in the stadium when they take on Botafogo of Rio.
And what about the Champions League getting back together? It's always an exciting time when it gets down to the knockout stages. There'll be plenty of sort of South American interest, of course.
Yeah, and especially Barcelona against PSG.
Yeah.
So you've got Thiago Silva, looking at Messi, Neymar, and Luis Suarez, and saying that the only way that we can mark these people is by praying. So the Champions League is going to play very, very, very big. Although tragically, without the participation of Tottenham Hotspur.
Yes, well, I mean, Tottenham are playing Ghent, I think, on Thursday night, aren't they?
That's right. It's in the old Europa, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it's not quite the same thing, I fear.
It's not. It's not. You're absolutely right.
Were you a bit disappointed with the result in Liverpool?
I didn't see the game because I had my mate over, but yes, I was. I'd bought into the thing of.
So you normally see now. That's just when you know that the fever has got you, because you're normally very straightforward about these things, and you always expect failure from Spurs, being a Spurs fan of long standing.
This one, I thought, I'd bought into all those ideas that Klopp had burnt his players out too early in the season, and I thought they might be there for the taking. But it was two relatively early goals. I'm only informed about this by the waiter, who recognised me, knew I was a Tottenham fan, and kept bringing me the dismal news during the course of the afternoon.
With some delight, right?
As long as he brought you a bit of strong drink every time he brought you Dismal News, Tim, that's okay.
Yeah, he did.
And Tim, you will probably be aware tonight that Aguero has put his stamp back on English football here. Came on as a substitute early on in the game when the boy wonder Jesus was injured after 14 minutes, and Aguero, reintroduced himself into English football. But his future's still unclear over here, isn't it?
It certainly is. And I think that goes back to before the arrival of Gabriel Jesus. If you look back to that game at Barcelona when Guardiola left him on the bench.
Yep.
So I'm sure that he will be thinking, do I really have a future? Does the coach really rate me? Does he really, really want me?
Yeah.
And I just wonder if he'll be off at the end of the season, which will be a huge loss. But maybe he needs a change. He's a player that I've followed all the way up, and I think he's an absolute fantastic player.
Yeah.
But I've always thought that he's, I think statistically he's the most successful striker in the history of the Premier League.
Yeah.
But I've always thought that he's capable of just that little bit more.
Yeah.
And Pellegrini, I think, used to say this to him when he was coach at Man City. He used to say, you should be on that podium of that, the FIFA World Player of the Year award. You should be one of the top three there.
Yeah.
And so maybe a little bit of a shake-up and a new club will work in his benefit as well, if that's the way that it goes.
He won't be short of courtiers, will he?
No, I'm sure he
certainly
won't.
No.
Sure he won't be. Thank you, Tim, very much indeed.
Yep.
Tim Vickery there reporting in from Brazil. A terrible story about football supporters fighting.
Oh, my God.
Shocking scenes
but,
outside.
Drive-by
the Rio
shootings
Garden.
outside a football ground. We talk about those when we talk about the mafia.
I know.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible stuff. We got lots more coming up. This is TalkSport. We will be doing another exciting edition of Heroes and Villains coming up a little bit later on as well, of course. Here's one from Steve, who's got a little Valentine's verse for you. Roses are red, Porky is blue, another blank for Lulu Karku.
Oh, I quite like that,
That's
actually.
very good, isn't it?
Don't like the sentiments involved,
No.
but yes, I can...
Bit of a disappointment for you, I would imagine, on Saturday afternoon after our very successful visit to the XL Exhibition Centre.
Yes, it was, actually.
I very much enjoyed that.
Wow, it's a huge place.
I'll tell you what was more interesting as well, was I got out of London quicker from there and onto the M25 than I do from here.
Really?
So I was actually home earlier than I would have been if I'd been in the office here.
Well, you would be, wouldn't you? Because it's over on the east side and it's near the exit
yeah, but
roads,
we're relatively close to the east as well. But, I was very pleasantly surprised.
Should be. Did you notice that the English Cricket Board have gone against my recommendation?
I have seen that.
They've made old Joe Root the New England captain.
Or young Joe Root, as you might
young Joe Root, the New England captain. I find this ridiculous.
Well, I'll tell you who doesn't find it ridiculous. It's Darren Goff, who I think you'd agree knows a lot more about cricket than you do.
He certainly does.
He says he's very excited by the partnership of Ben Stokes and Joe Root, and he thinks it's going to be great.
Yeah, OK, I can agree to that to a certain extent, but in terms of, giving a young man his head as the world's leading batsman, which is what Joe Root either is or will become, I think to pile him then with the pressure of being the England captain, which is the most onerous captaincy in world cricket, I think is a mistake.
Why is it the most onerous in world cricket?
Well, because the pressures on him from here commercially are greater than any other country in the world.
You don't think the Australian cricket captain gets absolutely and utterly destroyed when they don't win? I bet they do.
Well, I'm sure they do, but commercially, England will always be the biggest fish to fry. And
what about India?
And so much of the results that England have to come up with are relevant to the commercial value.
I think once again you are being chauvinistic.
No,
about
I'm not.
that.
I'm not.
It's not all about England. I mean, India has got 1 billion people living in it, right?
Yeah.
All of whom are cricket mad. Australia hate losing anything and go absolutely nuts if any of their people perform badly.
Yeah.
So I don't agree.
But who attracts the worldwide television audiences? The answer, I'm afraid, is
actually India
England.
does.
Yeah, well, it does.
India does.
Yeah, but
why do you think all these players are going over there to play?
There's not as many tellies in India as there are in Western Europe, if you see what I mean.
Well, Western Europe doesn't play cricket.
Well,
England
does. England does.
You think there are less televisions in India than there are in Britain?
No, there's more televisions in India than there are in Britain. So don't worry about that.
So I'm not worried about it.
But what people pay individually for their cable TV in India does not amount to the total cable TV bill in this country.
What do you mean?
Well, what I'm saying is that
where do you think the IPL gets all the money from?
Britain is a richer country.
Where do you think the IPL gets all the money from?
From its subscribers. Okay, but it's a limited number. But anyway, look,
I don't think you've got a good argument here.
Yeah, I have.
Floundering away there.
Did you know? No, I'm not floundering at all.
Yes, you are.
No. Did you know that Joe Root will become the highest paid England cricketer ever?
Is that right?
He will earn about £1.5 million. Like his predecessor, Alistair Cook. This is information that I've had access to.
Is that right?
Like his predecessor, Alistair Cook, he'll have a central contract with the ECB for Test cricket worth about £700,000.
Okay. Well, it's chicken feed when you think about footballers, isn't it?
Yeah, with a £175,000 supplement for being captain.
Yeah.
But unlike Cook, Root has a separate contract for playing limited overs matches for England worth another £250,000, okay?
Right.
And by the time appearance bonuses are included...
Hardly surprising in this day and age, is it?
Joe Root, who's from Sheffield, by the way.
Yeah. Yorkshireman.
Yeah, still in Sheffield.
Yeah. Well,
you know
I mean, no bad thing having a Yorkshireman as captain of England cricket, as far as I'm concerned.
Put dinner in t'oven, lad. I'll see thee. To earn about...
Sithy.
Yeah, I'll see thee, yeah.
Sithy.
To earn about £1.5 million annually before taking into account commercial endorsements, which will double that money. So
now,
£3 million a year is not bad.
It's not bad. Here's a question for you. What if he wants to go and play in the IPL at some point during the cricket season?
Well, he won't, will he?
Well, I don't know.
Well, he's England captain now.
Has he played in the IPL before?
I can't answer that. I do not know.
I thought you were an expert.
I am an expert, but I think that Stuart Broad should have been made captain and for the next 4 years, and then Joe Root in 4 years' time.
Yeah,
that would take the pressure off him.
But I don't see
our best batsman.
The idea that you don't want the England players as cricketers to have pressure on them is a nonsense. You've fallen foul of all this PC nonsense where, let's not put too much pressure on our young cricketers. No. He's not that young. He's 26. Not like he's 21.
No, but that's...
he's been playing professional cricket for a long time.
Yes, I know.
And he's perfectly capable of holding up the mantle of the captaincy.
But 26 is a younger age for a cricketer than it is for a footballer.
Well, no, it doesn't matter.
No, it is. I mean, cricketers go on to nearer 40, 37, 38, something like that.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm certain about that.
I don't think at the top level they do, no.
Well, no, I think they do. I think
Well,
I think they can.
Name me one top-level cricketer in his late 30s who's currently playing for England.
Late 30s, playing for England, cricketer, outstanding track record, still doing the business.
Yeah.
Well, there are, thereabouts. They are about.
Well, one for maybe an Indian one you could name then.
What?
Maybe you could name an Indian one.
They're about. I'm telling you, honestly, I don't want to get into specifics
an
because
Australian one.
It might seem that I'm putting the focus on somebody unfairly.
Jay says this: does anyone still watch cricket? Porky, please name 5 current England players.
Well, look, I'm not getting into that business of name players and all that kind of stuff.
No.
Listen, talking about cost expenditure.
Cricket now.
Well, this is a family show. We don't just dwell on one thing.
No, that's true.
Now, talking about expenses and expensive things and revenue and all that kind of stuff. Are you aware of the fact that today, Samantha Cameron, who used to be the wife of the Prime Minister,
Sam Cam,
so used to be our First Lady, is launching her new fashion label.
I was aware of that.
Did you know that?
Yes, I did, because I heard a report about it earlier on in the day, and I was struggling to work out what the name was because it's got the initials of all of her kids in it, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
what's the name of it again?
Keffin.
Keffin.
Cefin.
Cefin.
She started work on a brand Keffin.
It's not a great name, is it? I wouldn't buy anything because it had Keffin on it.
No, I wouldn't either. But anyway, here's the rub.
Effin.
Here's the rub. The Camerons tried to pretend to be very normal people when they were in Downing Street, flying on EasyJet.
But that wasn't really their fault. I think that was because they were told that that's what they had to do.
Well, they should have told them back, no, I'm sorry, I'm the Prime Minister, I'm going to travel in a private plane.
No, I know, but you see
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but I think he felt vulnerable because of that, because he thought, because people have these ridiculous, views in this country, oh, well, you're Tory, so you must be a rich toff.
Yeah.
So for him flying around in private jets and doing everything to make it look as if he was loaded would have played into that.
But a lot of his policies were not what he thought was right. They were, actually, I'm a rich toff, so I'll introduce a few policies to try and prove I'm not.
Yeah, well, exactly.
So he'd go around, putting taxes up on people who are doing well in life and allowing George Osborne to slam stamp duty on...
You just hate him because they put stamp duty
on the purchase of property and going around and saying, oh, I know, we'll put up the minimum wage, 1 million times a year, just to make out that I'm a caring Conservative. And it was all rubbish. Anyway, the point of the story is...
Well, not
she's got
Ken Loach.
In her... That's right, yeah. In her new fashion brand, Keffin, Cefin, guess how much a boxy black T-shirt costs?
A boxy black T-shirt? Yeah. It's about £100 or something.
£110.
Blimey.
£110.
You can get a 2 mics one a lot cheaper from the 2 mics website. But you get 10 Two Mics T-shirts for that.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. 11, couldn't you? On the £10 each.
Yeah.
Or plus VAT.
And postage and packing.
And postage and packing. Yeah, you get at least 10 anyway.
Yeah,
from the Two Mics website.
Yeah.
Which is, by the way, is being revived very, very soon indeed.
Yeah.
In fact,
we'll get the old defibrillator out for it.
Yeah, rebuilt and relaunched.
It was nearly dead.
Big announcement coming very soon, folks.
Shortly,
okay. Got a meeting in a licensed establishment this week to put the final touches to the new plan.
And stop telling people about the so-called party, by the way, as well.
What?
Well, you stopped telling people about the party. You kept saying it was a party last week.
Well, there might be a bit of a celebration. Anyway, just to move on, how about this? A two-piece suit, right? £480.
Well, see, that's not so out of the ordinary, is it? £480 for a suit. But 110 quid for a T-shirt is bonkers.
And a khaki coat fetching £390, right? So I have to say that she's starting right at the higher end of the fashion chain, OK?
Well, I mean, I would not say £480 for a suit is anything other than about average, to be honest.
Zipped dress with a funnel neck, £240.
That's not outrageously expensive,
No,
I'm sorry.
I suppose it's not when you read that people buy dresses for 10 grand and 11
well, exactly.
grand, 12
I mean, the
grand.
top
all
end
that,
of the suit range would be over sort of £1,000.
Yeah, but I agree with you. The name Keffin doesn't do anything for me. Why don't you call it Sam Cam?
Well, exactly.
That's what she's best known for.
That would have made it more sense, wouldn't it? Anyway, we've got Steve Lillywhite coming up next. We'll find out whether he's going to buy any suits from Sam Cam or Keffin or whatever it's called.
Yes.
This is Talk Sport.
That boy needs therapy. Psychosomatic. That boy needs therapy. You're psychosomatic. That boy needs therapy. Lying down on the couch. What does that mean? You're a nut. You're crazy in the
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics. I've got a couple of tweets for you, Porky. Scottish Bull says T20 in India last year. What are you doing?
What
have you got here? What on earth are you doing?
Oh dear, sorry.
What have you got there?
I've just been brought in. One of the night guys.
Right.
Oh, blimey. Just brought me the Postman pork post bag.
Well, I hope it's not fragile. What are you dropping it on the floor for?
Couldn't he put it all on my desk? It's all fallen off. There's a lot of it.
Well, we're not doing Postman pork today.
We are.
Why?
We've got to. It's all coming in so rapidly fast.
Well, you want to make it every day now, Postman pork?
Well, it might have to. This is another package here. Look. Oh, letters.
Dear God.
Postcards.
You mind talking into the microphone?
Postcards. Well, because I'm reaching round to try and sort all this out.
All right. Well, listen, I'll tell you what. Sort it out.
What time are we going to... we'll have to do this.
Well, we can't do it this hour. We've got to talk to Steve Lillywhite. We've got other things to do. We'll have to do it in the 3 hour.
We'll do it after 3 o'clock.
I'll tell you what, here's a good idea. Why don't we do it and maybe we'll periscope that?
Maybe we could do that. Maybe we could do that so we can...
Breath.
Hey?
Why are you all out of breath?
Well, because all these packages suddenly brought in. I went to the door, picked them up. They were so heavy, I brought them to the desk, and then they dropped all over the desk.
Yeah, right. Okay, all right. Well, listen, we'll talk about that later on. I'm going to do some more cricket-related tweets.
Right.
Scottish Bull says, the T20 in India last year drew viewing figures of 750 million people.
There you go.
What a plank you are, Porky.
Yeah.
And here's one from James. He says, Mike Atherton was 23 years old when he was appointed England captain back in '93.
Too young.
Well, it wasn't too young. Mike Atherton was a great captain.
He was a very great captain, I agree,
and John says, Porky's talking drivel about cricket. India has less TVs than Western Europe. Says it all. Double plank.
Well, Rob here says more nonsense from Porky re cricket. The power plays in cricket are India and Australia. Well, I know that. I mean, of course I do.
Exactly. Well, so I think young Mr. Root will do rather well. I tell you what I do think though is that at the age of 26, he's remarkably young looking for 26. He looks about 18.
He's boyish.
He's very boyish.
He's boyish.
But apparently, according to Darren Gough, he's a very mischievous character. So he might bring a bit of fun back, which I think the England cricket team needs. You know, he might be.
The last thing they need is fun.
Oh, I think they should be having fun. No,
get down to it and start restoring the reputation of English cricket.
No, not at all. Alistair Cook became one of those figures who was kind of weighed down by the seriousness of the job.
Yes.
Because he's a kind of a serious guy, you know.
Well, it's quite serious business being England cricket captain.
I think it's much more fun if you're out there enjoying yourself and whacking the ball all over the place and beating people because it's an enjoyable thing to do.
Looks like Dylan Hartley's going to lose the captaincy of the England rugby team, doesn't it, eh?
What, because of his inability to control himself?
Well, you know, the fact that I think he's been pulled off in the last 2 internationals, hasn't he?
Well, they were
substituted.
fortunate in Cardiff at the weekend. I thought I was watching that game and it looked to me for a long time that Wales were going to do it. They just ran out of steam at the end.
Well, I think you're right. Old Stumpy Dog here says, roses are red, Porky turns blue, because a third of his heart will give out on you.
Yeah.
Well, I can sort of make that up a bit. Yeah, thank you very much indeed. Yes,
sort of. Yeah, here's one from Billy from G in Edinburgh. Hi, regards to the cricket debate and late 30s cricketers playing for England. Porky's not just floundering, he is positively doing a great impression of Flipper, Jaws, Orca, and Billy the Fish. Totally washed up.
I don't think so.
Root has apparently never played in the IPL, according to James.
Sorry?
Jimmy Anderson is the oldest player in the England cricket squad. He's 34.
There you go, 34.
Well, 34 is not 37 or 38.
Well, some of them do play up to that age. I remember Brian Close, for instance.
I've given you the opportunity to name any of them, and you haven't done it.
Well, I haven't named them.
Somebody else, by the way, asked me earlier, how do you make a pizza slice into 10 pieces?
I don't know, but they do, because they have the...
sure it's not 8?
Well,
no. If you imagine a quarter...
It's 10.
It's 10.
It's definitely 10.
Is it?
I know, because I had to wrap them in cellophane and put them in the freezer afterwards.
Well, you individually wrap them?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, that's what you do.
Really? So what, will you take one out, sort of, one a day or something? Or how long will you keep it in there?
No. I eat about 4 at a time.
4 at a time?
Yeah, that's about, that's like a pizza meal, you know what I mean? Yeah,
so
very
you've
nice.
got 16 pieces. I'll keep you going for 4 days then?
Yeah, with a bowl of soup.
A bowl of soup and 4 pieces of pizza?
Yes,
What sort of soup?
Pea and ham.
Pea and ham? Very nice. I like a bit of pea and ham. I'm going to make some of that. I've never made pea and ham soup, but I'm planning on making some.
You are you?
Very soon, yes.
Good, that's very good. Now then, I've got some news for you.
Have you?
You are an advocate of electric cars, okay?
Not especially.
I thought you were.
Well, I don't have a problem with electric cars, and I think the more electric cars we have to choose from, and the cheaper they become, the better.
Right, okay. Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
You and the millions like you, you're
millions like me.
Yeah, bleeding hearts.
There's no millions like me.
Bleeding heart electric car fans.
I'm not an electric car fan.
If only 10% of all the cars in the country became electric cars, we would have to build 5 new nuclear plants.
What are you talking about?
To power them.
Why?
Because there is not enough electricity in this country at the moment to barely keep the street lights open. No.
Run one of your scare stories.
If only one, what did I say? 1/4. If only 1/4 of all the cars on the road at the moment...
You said 1/10 before.
1/10. If only 1/10 of all the cars on the road...
Which is it? That's quite a big difference.
We'll go for 1/4. If only 1/4 of all the cars on the road at the moment...
Only 1/4 of your heart works.
Hang on.
You might be dead.
Were electric and stopped in all these service stations on the motorway and used electricity to power themselves...
Right.
The country would go into darkness immediately.
Oh, right. So
there is not enough electricity in the country.
Another antediluvian, ridiculous reason for not going forward with technology.
Because we haven't got enough electricity.
Don't build them planes. You weren't meant to fly. You don't build them. They don't crash.
You would need to build, if every car in this country was electrically powered, i.e. you plugged them into a little post at the roadside,
what about
you would have to build 20 new nuclear plants to produce electricity. How about that?
Well, let me ask you
When
this.
are we going to build those?
Let me ask you this. How much electricity would be saved by nobody having to use an electronically powered hand pump to put gas and petrol and diesel and everything else into the car?
Yeah. How much what?
How much electricity would you save?
None at all.
Why?
Because it's so minimal. So minimal, petrol pump.
How much electricity do you think a petrol pump uses?
Very little indeed.
Well, give me a figure.
As little as a hairdryer.
As little as a hairdryer.
That's right,
But how many times do you think that is going on all times, all around the country?
No. Listen to this. This is fact.
No, I'm giving you a counter argument.
No, you're just speculating. Let me give you the fact.
Who's come up with this fact?
My power journals.
Your power journals?
Yeah.
Can you give me a name, please?
Right, hang on. Switching all cars to ultra-low emissions may place a massive strain on the power... Yeah, hang on.
Say may.
On the power network because of the additional resources needed to recharge batteries, research suggests.
And who's done the research?
Figures produced by Transport for London suggest that switching to an all-electric vehicle fleet in the capital would demand at least 5 times the amount of power currently needed to run the entire London Underground network.
Really?
Which, by the way, is the biggest user of electricity in this country.
London Underground?
Yes, London Underground,
How do you know that?
Because I know this. I've seen the facts and the figures.
I haven't seen that. I'm not sure I believe it.
Okay.
Well, Transport for London, right, have a vested interest in getting people off the roads altogether.
Yep.
So what they would like you to do is get on a bike and get on the train. What they don't want you to do is get into a car of any kind, whether it's electric, whether it's run by fossil fuels, or whether it's being driven by a genie.
Right, okay.
So basically, they are going to come up with all sorts of research which is going to point you in that direction.
Okay, I've got more evidence here, more definitive evidence. At the maximum level of uptake in the city, green cars would demand between 7 and 8 gigawatts per year.
How much is that?
7 and 8 gigawatt hours per year, okay?
Well, what does that mean?
Well, it means
to the layman. Explain it, please.
Right, I will. Experts say this is the equivalent to the output of more than 2 nuclear power stations.
That's rubbish.
Similar to that.
Absolute
rubbish. Hang on. Similar to that being built at Hinkley Point in Somerset. Extrapolated nationally, it would require the equivalent of 20 new nuclear power stations nationwide.
Absolute
okay?
rubbish.
Have you got that?
That's complete rubbish.
Have you got that? That's
it's
research.
Scaremongering nonsense.
That is research from those who know.
London, from those who don't want you to have a car. That's who it's research from.
I'm telling you.
Because what they've seen, right, what they have seen is that their kind of relentless campaign, which you have been against, by the way, for many a year, and you've moaned and groaned about Transport for London until it now suits you to quote some of their figures, right? They have relentlessly campaigned to penalise car drivers in this country and to penalise car drivers in this city particularly. They put the congestion charge up to what now? It's £11.50 a day.
Yes.
Hasn't stopped the congestion. They've built the roads in such a way that now super highways are all over the place. Yep. They had by the way, they had a demonstration at the weekend in which, despite the fact that more than £2 billion and up has been spent on cycling in the capital, the guy who runs the, get more cycling campaigns going, so he called it chicken feed. Yeah. He said that, the amount of money so far that's been spent has been way, way below what should be spent. $2 billion.
Unbelievable.
Right? So this organisation has noticed that, okay, we might be winning the war on the ecology. I saw a sign for the first time driving into the XL the other day, which said, turn off your engine when stationary.
Yes.
We've got a high pollution level in London today, right?
Right.
So they've now worked out that people actually are quite liking the idea of electric cars.
Yes.
And they will get electric cars as soon as they become affordable. However, that will not help Transport for London because they don't want the cars in the city. So they're now going to tell you, you better be careful if you get an electric car. You won't be able to put the kettle on and make any tea. Yeah. It's the biggest load of rubbish I've ever heard.
No, you've got to build 20 nuclear power stations if you want all the cars in this country turned electric. And by the way, we've got to start building new roads because another piece of my research shows that traffic has reached record levels. Motoring experts warning of Britain's clogged roads. 320.5 billion vehicle miles travelled in 2016, 2% up on the pre-recession peak of 2007. Van traffic has the biggest growth. That's because of all the internet
I've told
shopping
you about that before,
these days. RAC spokesman Nick Lies, an expert, by the way, said drivers forking out for motoring taxes would find the congestion incredibly frustrating, okay?
Who would?
All drivers.
Yeah, I'm not sure they will. But the point is, there is a campaign against drivers in this country, right? Yeah. You seem to now be siding with it by spreading these ridiculous scare stories that we're not going to be able to have any electric cars because we haven't got the power.
Well, we haven't. There's not enough power in this country to run
like I said,
electric
until
cars.
You can answer the
Why didn't some idiot check it out before he started advocating electric cars?
For example,
they're useless, these
all
people.
of the petrol stations use an awful lot of electricity throughout the course of the day, don't you think? They've got coffee machines. They've got places for tills.
Well, the cars will still use the coffee machines. They're driving electric cars.
Pumps. They've got electric pumps.
Electric pumps use nothing.
You don't know that, though, do you?
I've been working in petrol stations since I was 15, man. I can tell you all about it. Electric pumps, what?
You still do,
No, but I was at that age. I got a very, very early inkling as to the efficiency and the powerage of service stations.
Once again, I'm afraid your arguments are completely and utterly baseless. This is Talk Sport.
Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to me to go over everything. They say the time's supposed to heal ya, but I ain't done much healing. Hello, can you hear me? I'm in California dreaming about who we used to be when we were younger and free. I've forgotten how it felt before the world fell at our feet. There's such a difference between us and a million miles.
This is Talk Sport.
Hello from the other side.
You like a bit of Adele, do you, Porky?
Yeah, I think she's a very impressive singer, and that's reflected in the massive worldwide sales that she garners. I just wish they'd leave the politics out of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, she wasn't really doing any politics in particular. She was just doing a bit of a sort of girl next door thing, which I'm getting a bit fed up with.
Well, no, but also the Beyonce thing about, it shouldn't have been mine, Beyonce, should have been your award.
How was that about politics? That was just about Beyonce.
Well, I think it's all about, the sisterhood and all that kind of stuff, You
don't like that?
Well, I admire people who are very talented. They should just go up there, get their award, and then get lost.
OK, so you don't want to hear them speaking. Let's talk to Steve Lillywhite, who's won a couple of Grammys in his time. Steve, very good morning to you.
Hello, boy.
Yeah, hi, Steve.
Hello from the other side. Now, you've got a pretty bad line.
From the other side.
It's got a pretty bad line, Steve. We'll see if we can get a better line, because that is awful.
Good idea.
And it's not a very good one
like
at
you're
all.
in a swimming pool.
We'll come back to him. Yeah, here's one from James, who says, Coley, 28, Smith, 27, Root, 26, Williamson, 26.
Yes.
The top 4 Test captains, all under 30.
Indeed.
26 seems too young for Porky.
Yeah, well, I think he could have waited another 4 years.
Frankly. And Vicky says this, just tuned in and Porky's in full rant mode. What the heck have I missed, and why is he so angry tonight?
No, not angry about anything, honestly. Just got to, if you've got a point of view, you've got to put it forward. Yeah. Be specific.
Has Porky been on the juice, says John? He's talking more bonkers than normal.
Actually, funny enough, I think I had the least bladderated weekend I've had for a long, long time.
The least bladderated?
Weekend just gone, yeah.
Really?
Yes,
what, do you mean your weekends are normally bladderated full?
No, they're normally partially bladderated, but there was no partial bladderation even.
Really? Why not?
I just didn't fancy it. After we left the XL on Saturday, I didn't have another alcoholic drink.
What, you mean all weekend?
Mostly until about Sunday evening-ish.
Well, hang on. I left the place in the XL at around about 1 o'clock.
Yes.
So Sunday, that's only one day.
Yeah, a day and a half.
Well, how's it a day and a half?
Well, a day and a half of the weekend, not to consume any alcohol, not to imbibe any alcohol, is, in my view...
Well, I'm glad that you think that's an extraordinary event. It's not for me.
No, in my view, it's...
Did you have a drink today?
Very commendable. No, didn't know.
No. See, I never have a drink on a Monday.
No, I don't know.
Because I have to drive up from
the
coast.
Exactly. Why would I bother?
Now, we're going to try and get Steve back on Skype. I think he might be there. Steve, are you there?
I'm here.
No, that's much better.
It's funny. Hello from the other side. Or as a friend of mine once said when he met Paul Simon, hello darkness, my old friend.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Very good. Did he give him that sort of 100-yard stare that he gives to Art Garfunkel?
Oh, I know. Isn't that such a funny relationship?
Very
oh my
weird.
God.
I know.
That's almost as bad as the Gallagher brothers. But
nothing's
anyway,
that
bad. I digress. No, the person who had the worst deal out of the whole Grammys was Adele's father.
Really?
Right.
Oh my! Well, because she was thanking her manager and said, "Oh my God, I love you like I love my dad, except I don't love my dad."
No, that's nice.
Oh, really?
Oh my God! Yeah,
I missed that.
No. This was the bit. Check it on Google. It's and I'm sure she didn't mean to say it, but of course her father left her and her mother when she was 3 years old and went off sort of boozing for 20 years.
Right.
And like all parents with the successful children, they sort of they come back when the money starts coming in.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was a similar situation with Andy Murray, except it was the other way round, wasn't it? Because his mother disappeared for a while to do something tennis-related around the world, and then he was raised by his dad, but then she came back when he started to show some signs of talent, and the dad was kind of frozen out, and he used to try and turn up at Wimbledon to watch the games, having raised him to about the age of 14, and it was a terrible scenario.
Steve...
You know what, yes, but I have to say Judy Murray's a little bit scary.
Oh, yes, she is, certainly.
She is. More than a little bit.
Steve, after all your years in the showbiz world, at the very top, with your record of success, do you think that the Lovies are now becoming more of a political lobbying group than a profession? Because every time they get a public stage, they decide to impress upon us their bleeding heart liberal, we are very nice people, political agenda. And frankly, I'm getting fed up with it.
Well, Porky, someone once said to me, reality does have a liberal bent. And the fact is, people who have a platform on which to thank the world for for all the good fortune they've had, it's natural for them not to say, you either thank God, which is a very strange thing, because do you blame God when you don't win, or or you have to say something about, you have to use the platform a little bit. And, I think it should happen more. We need more people like, look at Bob Dylan in the 60s.
Yeah.
All of your favorite music, Porky, came from this sense of rebellion, this sense, so I'm surprised that you're taking this side.
But you have to say as well, Steve, there was a genuine sense of rebellion in the 60s when Dylan wanted to make a protest song about the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
There was a reason for it. I mean, these people are not necessarily making protest songs. They're just making an awful lot of noise when they win something. It's called virtue signalling, I believe.
Exactly, they're apologising for being rich and successful.
Right.
Yeah. I can agree with you there. I think maybe the art should be speaking more.
Yes.
That's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it came out in the art, if we had another Bob Dylan. And you know what? I don't know if you saw the Grammys. I watched
I only watched the clips of it on the news, to be honest.
Right. Well, there was such a terrible performance of Metallica with Lady Gaga.
Well, I actually tweeted about that, saying I'm glad I haven't got any Metallica albums to burn, because I'd be burning them right now.
Oh my God, it was so embarrassing. And she made Toya Wilcox seem like David Bowie.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so bad.
Why was it so bad then? Why were they? I mean, they're a pretty good group normally, aren't they?
Well, Metallica are great, but I mean, they're not about doing shows with Lady Gaga, for heaven's sake, are they?
No. And personally, I don't like Metallica. I think they should, they did a version of Whiskey in the Jar, which is one of the greatest ever records, which Phil Lynott completely brought to the masses.
Yeah,
and of course, Metallica's version was just terrible. So, little things like that, really.
Yes.
But I mean, it's also the kind of Americanization, which is probably a bad word to use, of bands like that, where everybody has to be wearing makeup, everybody has to do a 3-minute slot, and, that's it. And then,
exactly.
it's perfectly packaged. It's not rock and roll, is it?
No. And you know what? I was thinking this morning how someone like David Bowie did go through all these different phases. It was fine. 1 week he was, he would be singing with Bing Crosby, singing the Little Drummer Boy. And then he'd be the Spiders from Mars. Yeah. But you sort of believed it when he did it. I'm comparing Lady Gaga, who was singing with Tony Bennett last year, and now yesterday was looking ridiculous. It's like they're acting it now.
Yeah.
It's not like they're living it.
But also, there's some A&R guy in the background doing this will be a great crossover for us.
Yes,
and that's what it's about, right?
But what I don't understand, Steve, is this. Take Bono, of whom you know very well, okay?
Extremely well, yeah.
Exactly. And take Adele last night. Now, why can't they stand up and say, I have sold £67 million worth of records in the last year. Of that, I will be paying over £25 million in taxes. I am delighted to be returning this money to governments who can then spend it on the National Health Service, on helping those who are deprived, those people who aren't as good enough as me. Bono could say, I've sold, £100 million worth of records this year. The taxes that derive from that will help poor people all around the world. Why can't they actually be proud of their enormous success? Because success creates wealth, and wealth creation is what can alleviate poverty.
Yes, no, you're absolutely right. And, we live in a capitalist world, and you have to believe that capitalism both makes the person, gives the working man a better quality of life, and hopefully stops people going to war.
Yes.
Because if you can trade with your neighbour, you are less likely to go and fight him.
Exactly.
So we are all capitalists because we all want peace and we all want flat screen television.
Yes, that's right.
But there are a hell of a lot of loopholes, and you know this for the for both the rich and famous from music, but even more so from big corporations. And I know this is probably getting a bit political.
No, it's not. It's all part of what we've seen over the last 24 hours.
Well, yes, but even Apple, they don't pay taxes anywhere, and I'm a big fan of all. Without Apple, I would never have had my iPod, my iPhone. It's some fantastic inventions, but they don't. They're squirreling all their money away, and it just feels that.
Doesn't feel like a level playing field in many ways, right?
No, it doesn't. And you look at the empirical facts about wealth creation and trickle-down economics, which was a buzzword in the 80s.
Yeah.
That, here we are 30 years later, we know it didn't trickle down. Or if it did trickle down, it trickled down not very far.
Porky's a big fan of trickle-down economics because the 80s was his favourite decade.
No, that's not true.
The last one he can remember.
That's not true. If I employ a bloke to, paint the fences around my roof garden, then...
That'll take about 3 minutes.
Then that trickle-down wealth is going from me to him. And if I stop like I did last weekend to get a guy to wash my car, that's trickle-down economics. Unless I've got any money, I can't employ anybody to do anything.
No, that's of course that is capitalism, and that's no one wants equal wages for every single job, but there has to be a little bit of a comeback from the other side. It's
exactly.
I wish successful people wouldn't be ashamed of their success. I wish successful people would say, yeah, I am successful and I'm proud of it and I earn lots of money and a lot of that goes on supporting the National Health Service in Britain and I do what I can for charity. Because a lot of these people, by the way, Steve, you probably know better than me, they give away tons of money to charity already, don't they?
They do, and a lot of I know Bono, for instance, he does so much that nothing is ever said.
Yes.
It's like, they're truly great people.
Yeah.
And we have to say America is great for its philanthropy as well.
It is.
They invented it. All the money in England, it's been with the same bloody families.
Yeah.
But
of course, if Adele had got up or Beyonce had got up at the Grammys and thanked America for its philanthropy, some people would have stopped buying all their albums and gone, that's a disgrace. Well, you can't come to the after-show party now.
That's right.
You've said something awful. Did you have to speak when you got an award?
Yes, I did a little, very, very briefly. As I say, I've got 6 Grammys, but the best one was for Producer of the Year.
Right. Yeah.
And I went up on stage for Album of the Year as well for U2.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So it's a great night, and there's all these parties afterwards, and it's all a load of rubbish, as you know. You've been to these things, but you can't really take it seriously. But for one night, it's just quite nice to have a little pat on the back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course it is. And very well deserved in your case.
Nobody would turn that down. Now, just very briefly, because we've got to go soon, any worries about Chelsea wobbling at the weekend?
I watch every single game, and we know Burnley are the third best home team in the Premier League.
Yep.
And why is it this whole thing of home advantage? It's so strange, isn't it?
It is. In this day and age, you would think.
Well, yeah, and the human psyche. This is why we love football. That something that's so that you can't. There's no scientific formula that says why you do better at home and why you do what. Even with Leicester, you can't. Other than the fact, obviously, that they've lost Kante, but there's nothing that. That there's still that wonderful random chance thing that happens with football. And no, I don't think, we're playing very well. We've got such a settled team. We've got no European football. I think, and we can still lose 2 games, and that's if 2.5 games, and that's if every other team wins. And there'll be there's the top 6 will be bashing each other. I just I
think you look pretty solid, though. You look pretty solid between now and the end of the season. If I was a Chelsea fan, I I'd have one foot in the celebration camp.
Beware the Porky jinx is all I can say. It's very, very...
Beware the Porky.
Beware the Porky jinx.
Right,
Steve, great to talk to you again. We've got to run.
Steve.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Have a great day. Happy Valentine's Day, I should say, as well, because we didn't say that to you earlier. It is, of course, Valentine's Day. Porky's already had a couple of Valentine's, that is. Let's talk sport. Sport. We are the two mics. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to have an episode of Heroes and Villains, of course.
Yeah.
I'm leading 3-1 at the moment. You might be able to pull one back.
Yeah.
Also, we're going to do an emergency postman port.
Well, we'll have to.
So much stuff has come in. And it's all in big boxes here. We have to keep patching the stuff. I mean, everybody knows it's there. And we're going to try another experiment. And on the old social media front, very successfully, we managed to do a Facebook Live last week on Friday. If you haven't seen it yet, you can go to Facebook, find our Facebook page and watch the Porky Quiz.
Yes.
And I think we're going to do that every week now.
I think we will.
The Porky Quiz will be on Facebook Live. So tonight...
Have you set the camera up?
Well, the camera is in the process of being set up.
I don't know, there's enough of my face in that one at the moment.
Well, it's not a question of whether your face
too much,
is in it or not. It will be...
too many bits of equipment in the
so stay away from the
studio,
technological side of it.
which are getting in the way. I'm not sure it's got my best side.
Yeah, well, you haven't got a best side, really.
What?
From the back is the best side on you. And so we'll be putting it out on Periscope. Which will then be fed through Twitter.
Yes.
So you'll be able to follow us
Indeed.
there. A couple of thoughts here on Twitter.
Yeah.
At the two mics says, James, just the thought of Aggers saying, first up this morning, Henry Blofeld, and on debut, Porky Parry, live from Lords.
Yes, live from Lords.
What a frightening thought that would be. Steve says this, Stephen Fry's Brexit gags were getting no laughter at all. Porky's impressions would have done better.
What?
This would have been at the BAFTAs, of course.
At the BAFTAs?
Stephen Fry.
Oh, Stephen Fry.
Yeah, he was mine host at the BAFTAs.
Yeah, right.
As he always is.
Yeah, there was some talk about him harbouring ambitions to become a Knight of the Realm.
Really?
But
like David Beckham?
Yeah, that can't possibly happen.
It's bound to happen, isn't it?
What, for Stephen Fry?
Yeah, of course he'll become Sir Stephen Fry.
Well, hang on, am I not right in thinking that at some stage in his past he and drugs have not had a happy relationship within the bounds of the law?
No idea, but what's that going to do with anything?
Well, I mean, you know, there are certain standards that you have to aspire to and to
I don't know
maintain.
I don't know which story you're revealing or referring to, and you might. I don't know, basically.
Yes.
I mean, he's admitted to taking drugs in the past, but so has he in both of them. He's got a knighthood, hasn't he?
He has got a knighthood, but I think that was a very disputed half a spliff on a 900-mile walk, wasn't it?
Half a spliff on a 900-mile walk.
Yeah, allegedly, yeah.
You can't just say allegedly and everything goes away.
No, well, you know, that was a report that was dismissed.
Really?
Now, listen, I want to tell you about the Munchkins.
Why?
Now, I was going to tell you about these at the weekend, but you said, you know, it's a bit heavy and all this. Do you know who the Munchkins are?
The Munchkins are in The Wizard of Oz.
That's right,
and they are a troupe of mostly characters that suffer from dwarfism.
That's right.
Who danced around Judy Garland.
That's right.
Follow the Yellow Brick Road. Follow the Yellow Brick Road.
That's right.
Etc. Etc. Etc.
That's right.
But they had some interesting taste, didn't they?
Well, the thing is that everybody thought that they were cute little people, you know, because obviously they were, you know, as you quite rightly say, portrayed in the film as being, you know, these helpful little people and all that kind of stuff. In fact, they were the worst bunch of hellraisers in the history of Hollywood.
Apparently so.
Yeah, a new book has revealed that these guys, it says, forget the Rat Pack and generations of bed-hopping, pill-popping, matinidal hellraisers, the Munchkins were actually Hollywood's baddest boys.
Yeah.
Laughable as that might sound to anyone who's...
And girls, apparently.
Yes, that's right, yes, although there were more males than females. Laughable as that might sound to anyone who's seen their squeaky-voiced, childlike antics in the film, the astonishing theory has been advanced for years. The tales are endless and lurid. Holed up in a hotel with only each other for months on end, the Munchkins indulged in bacchanalian orgies.
Bacchanalian
orgies.
Kind of orgies
and heavy drinking bouts, swinging from rafters, gambling illegally, getting involved in mass prostitution, and generally behaving so badly that police had to be stationed on every floor of their hotel, if not outside every one of their rooms.
During the making of The Wizard of Oz?
This is during the making of The Wizard of Oz, yeah. Right. The tales were so awful that they even spawned a rumour that that one of the Munchkins, who was crossed in love, actually committed suicide on the set of the film. Julie Garland herself alluded to their appalling behaviour, although she never claimed she was the target. She said they were drunks. They got smashed every night, and the police used to scoop them up in butterfly nets. The butterfly net was a reference to a report that some of the inebriated midgets staggered onto their hotel roof and had to be caught in nets laid out below them to stop them falling over the balconies. Garland said that when she went
on...
Are
these stories, though, or are these true stories?
No, these are true. These are true...
I mean, some of that would allege that these were rumours,
No,
right?
no. These are all factual accounts. Garland said that when she went on a date with one of them, taking no chances by bringing her mother, the Munchkin told her, "Fair enough, 2 broads for the price of 1. I like that."
Yeah.
Others connected to the production had even less savoury recollections. "We had a hell of a time with those little guys," said Mervyn Leroy, the film's producer. He described how when filming finished each day, there were fights and orgies and all kinds of carryings on. He said almost every night the Culver City police had to rush over to the hotel to keep them from killing each other. We had to have police on just about every floor, if not outside every door.
Well, we're not in Kansas anymore, obviously. But, I mean, this is not particularly new, is it?
Their intake of alcohol was extraordinary. I mean, these guys were, they were the worst Hollywood's ever seen.
Apparently so. But, I mean, these things have been said before, but I suppose this is just a more kind of detailed thing about the book. Because, I mean, I've certainly heard these stories for years and years about about the fact that the Munchkins and all the stuff that was going on and how ribald it all was. Because I think the original story was that they were originally going to have a load of kids doing the part that they played.
Yeah.
But in the end, somebody persuaded the studio and somebody persuaded the film producers that they should get all these guys in. Most of them had never been on a film set before.
No.
So they weren't actually trained as actors. They weren't, really...
That's right.
Their lifestyle was more from the circus.
That's right, yeah.
And they were more into getting absolutely ripped up every night.
I mean, Judy Garland...
That was how they lived.
Judy Garland was only 4'11", and she was like an adult. She didn't suffer from dwarfism, so she was pretty near to their height. But on the set as well, they had a lawyer in permanent residence who had to go to the Culver City jail every morning and bail out those who'd been arrested for being so drunk and disorderly the night before to get them back on set to make that day's filming.
I know, incredible. Absolutely incredible stuff. Loads coming up in the next hour, including a Postman Pork emergency version and Heroes and Villains. This is Talk Sport.
Yes.
Hello, this is Tim Vine on Talk Sport. It's Mike Parry's postbag. I can't wait to see what's in there.
Postman Pork, I eat my chips with just a fork, 'cause then I can still talk.
Once again, we're at the very, very edge of the technological revolution.
We
are apparently live on Periscope and on the Two Mics Twitter. So
we are.
If you want to join. If you want to join that, I believe it might be on Facebook as well. I haven't checked that yet, but I'm going to check that very shortly.
Okay.
So if you want to follow the video as well as the audio of what we're doing, now is the time to do it. We're having an emergency version of this because we've had
so much
an influx of packaging.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Which we're going to have to open.
I mean, it's Valentine's Day, so I don't know how much of it relates to that or whatever, but I mean, a van arrived this morning, that's yesterday morning, in East Turn, brought all this stuff in. I've just brought a selection of it in. We better get going because there's so much to get to.
Yeah, let's get to it.
First of all...
So what are you going to open first?
Well, I'm going to, first of all, read out a very nice card. Armour Observatory. Armour. And
Northern Ireland.
From Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
And it says, well, I can't read it, actually, because it's very scrawny writing, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But it's from somebody called, do you know, I can't even read that anyway. But I want to say thank you very much indeed.
So, you've got a postcard that you can't read?
It just says, Raging Bull Beryl... Slick 19 back, or I can't honestly, but it's sent to sent to Porky Parry here at so that's great. Let's get into the packages.
Pass it over to me, because then I might be able to add something.
You won't be able to add to it, honestly.
You never know.
No, you won't, honestly, don't worry about it.
Just pass it to me.
Well, I doubt you won't.
And I may pick it up later.
Yeah, but anyway, let's get into the first package here, okay? Because I don't know what's in here, honestly, I really don't. Oh, look at this. It's some sort of DVD, or it could be a CD or whatever. Let's have a look here. Right, here we go. It is, in fact, The All Tones. The All Tones?
The All
Who
Tones.
are the All Tones? Anybody know?
I don't know who the All Tones are.
Right, OK, well, here we go. I've got two CDs, I suppose they are, aren't they? Yeah, they're definitely CDs. Thank you very much indeed.
Is that a band, the All Tones?
It says the All Tones available here. 14-track LP, Fear Without Progression, by the All Tones, recorded at Abbey Road Studios.
All right.
So that's pretty good, isn't it, eh?
Very good.
Anybody who gets into Abbey Road Studios. Here's a note of where it comes from. Right, this comes from Nick Heighton, and he comes from Parry. And he says, Dear Porky, and the other Mike.
Yeah.
Here's a copy of my LP recorded at Abbey Road in one day.
Oh, so it's this guy's record.
It'd be an honour to come on the show and tell you about it. Hope you enjoy. Best regards, Nick. Nick, thank you very much indeed.
Well, maybe we should play a little bit of it later.
Maybe we will. Let's get into the next package here because there's so many packages to get going.
We've got a big box here, by the way.
Yeah, we've got a big box.
We are live on Facebook as well, by the way.
You can see me now trying to break into these parcels.
Look at it on the two mics if you wish.
Bit of a skill alone getting into these. They're wrapped so well. No, I don't need scissors, mate. No. I know what I'm doing. You know.
Right.
I can sort this out. Here we go. Oh, this is a book. Right, okay. It's always nice for you to send me these artefacts. Thank you very much indeed. People think I just, reach out to you for presents and things, but of course I don't. Bit of packaging.
That has been going around, actually.
Yeah, okay. This is D-Day as they saw it, forward by Field Marshal Lord Carver. Bit of a tatty old note here written on the back of a form card or something. Not sure that this is very classy, actually, but let me have a look and see what it says here.
It doesn't look a very new book.
It says, Porky, I've heard you in the past describing your dad's D-Day Nelson-like heroics. You may find this book interesting. John in Lancashire, I think that says. John Lanks. P.S. About a week ago, you were both talking about emus, and it says...
Emus?
Yeah, see YouTube, because Frankie Dettori was riding an emu at the races. Really?
What?
Didn't know about that.
Okay.
But anyway, look, thank you very much indeed. That's excellent. I always like to get presents. That book called D-Day.
Yeah.
Let's open the big one, shall we?
Let's open the big one,
aside.
You sure you don't need scissors for that?
No, I don't need scissors now.
Because, it looks like it's pretty well sealed up.
No, I know what I'm doing.
You can open it with a pen.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Or a paper knife, maybe.
Yeah. No. Got it open. Oh, yeah, there's a letter on the top anyway. So.
Are you sure that's not a bill of lading?
Hang on. Let's get this off. Yeah.
Well, you should move your microphone up so that we can see
I can't do more than one thing at once, you know.
Can't you?
Right, here we go.
I always thought you were able to.
Been given some scissors now. Thank you very much indeed. Right, Postman Pork.
Yeah.
Talk Sport, 18 Hatfield, London, SE18DJ. That's the right address. Dear Porky and Mr. Graham, I've been listening to your show now for roughly 7 months, having been introduced to it by my brother, who's been a regular listener for many years. I have to say, it's by far the best show on any radio station I've come across, right? And it goes on to say, range of conversations is great, incredible, sport, politics, mass Rogerisation and bladderisation in moderation, which I have to say, Porky, didn't take much notice of at the Liverpool show, as you seemed completely bladderated after the show. That's not true. I think Mr. Graham was the one who stayed up until the early hours of the morning. Anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, I was actually not reasonably complimentous.
Anyway, for you, Mr. Parry, some Beatles coasters for your penthouse, which you can show off to your executive and high-class guests when you serve them some letterbox wine. Also, for you, Mr. Graham, so you'll get a present as well, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
A band I recommended on Twitter a few weeks back. Here's their debut album, which I believe you may like the sound of. And this comes...
Is this what's come in this big brown
It's all in this big box, about to open it.
Well, why would a few sort of beer mats and one CD take up all that room?
A lot of good padding and all that kind of stuff, right? So we'll open as I'm reading here. Keep up the great work, guys. All the best, Danny. And he actually signs it as Danny K.
Oh, yeah.
But I shouldn't imagine he's related to the famous Danny K.
Well, Danny Kelly. It's not Danny Kelly, is it?
Wasn't Danny K the...
Danny K was a dancer, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a comedian, wasn't he?
No, well, a comedian and a dancer,
right?
I suppose.
Okay, but keep talking as we're opening, because I open very rapidly. Here we go.
It's all going out on Periscope, Twitter and Facebook, by the way, if anybody's looking for it. At the two mics.
Now, this is full of all this kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Which I'm going to leave in the bag, because it gets very messy.
What a ridiculously big box.
Yeah, well, I see what's here. Hang on.
I thought there might be some booze in it.
No, there's no booze in it, I'm afraid.
For heaven's sake.
Looks like it's come via Amazon.
Does it?
Yeah. Here we go.
I must have had the work experience kit packing this one.
Here we go. It's actually an old style
it's
LP.
vinyl. Okay.
Wolf Mother. Have you heard of this?
No, I haven't.
You heard of Wolf Mother?
Well, this is his band, isn't it?
Yeah. Is it? I don't know. No, it just says Danny.
I thought you just said that he had recorded it.
No, that's the other one. That was Paul Jones or whatever. All Jones.
Paul Jones.
So here, this is for you.
Okay.
That's, you should say thank you to Danny for that.
Thank you, Danny. Wolf Mother.
I've got some coasters. Where's my coasters? There aren't any coasters.
Interscope.
Why aren't there any coasters?
I don't know. They're probably in there.
No, they're not.
Well, they can't be inside the album because this is all completely and utterly sealed, as you can see.
Yeah.
Why don't you tip it out?
Well, no, because there's nothing in there.
Really? Do you think he's caught you out?
I think he has.
Look how upset you are.
It says.
Look how upset you are.
Some Beatles coasters for your pet. Well, where are they, Danny? Hey, they're not in there.
Don't start giving him abuse.
No, they're not in here.
Tip it out.
There's no point tipping it out. They're not in here.
Really?
Oh, hang on.
Oh,
I found something at the bottom.
It.
Oh,
there
here we go. Oh, brillianto. There are coasters
so now you're
here.
happy.
Yeah. Throw that away.
Yeah, this is like the Richie Rich at Christmas morning, isn't it?
Yeah, this is great. And actually, it's a metal tin with a picture of the Beatles on the front.
The tin is actually
like
rather nice, isn't it?
Tin's rather nice.
You're going to hold it up for the camera to see it?
I am going to right now. There we go. How about that? And then I take the sellotape off and I open the tin eventually because it's a bit difficult, you know. Got to take the sellotape off on the other side as well because obviously there's a pressure point here. That's it. Yeah. Right. Now we'll open the tin. Oh, look. This is fantastic. The coasters are like parlophone records of the Beatles' greatest hits.
Oh, you'll like that.
Oh, this is fantastic. Love Me Do.
Yeah.
Please Please Me.
Yeah.
Strawberry Fields Forever.
Yeah.
Hey Jude.
Yes.
Abbey Road, Side 2. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I can't thank you enough. That is a terrific present. I really, really love that.
How about this from Brunton?
Thank you ever so much.
Postman Pork has turned into Christmas every week for Porky.
Well, there you go.
This slot of the show has turned into a freeloading session.
Well, I'm not a freeloader, as you know, so now let's open this one here.
I think we should give it away to charity.
This is, well, I think we should think about that. Just very quickly, Postman Pork, the two mics talk sport. So perhaps if I get this out, there's a letter here as well, look. Right, here we go.
Another letter.
It's
the time, by the way.
Limited edition T-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very nice T-shirt. Something to do with Delaney Nootka trading. Right. And
Delaney Trading.
Yeah. Oh, here's a letter in here. Now, this is from Matt Guns, OK?
Yeah.
Matt, thank you very much indeed. And there's something else in this bag here. I'm not sure what this is. I'll open this here. It says, Dear Postman Pork, I've been a fan of yours since 2003 and I'm pleased that you're still reaching out to your flock. My son Finley also had major heart surgery, so it gives me hope that he can thrive and be successful after seeing your great progress. I discovered the Two Mics podcast when I was painting at home last spring and I listen every day as I drive 500 miles a week. I'm close to a copy of your best-selling book, Rooney Tunes, which set me back 1p. I was hoping you could sign and send it back to me. I haven't included a stamp after spending all my money on the book.
Yeah.
I hope Mr. Graham isn't too embarrassed to sign the book also. I've also included a taboo tee.
Taboo tee?
I think it means T-shirt. I guess the size from your photos, it is taboo because I played the guys at work the clip of Porky Vision, which although I think they enjoyed it, they seemed confused. Anyway, I wish you both all the very best. Please keep up the excellent work. Matt Guns. Okay, Matt? Well, here's the T-shirt. Is the T-shirt that Matt sent us.
Is it from the show Taboo? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think it's from the show Taboo. Well, James Delaney is the hero of Taboo, isn't he?
Yes. Well, is that his company?
Well, no, New to Trading, it is, absolutely, in the show. So that's a very valued present indeed. Thank you very much indeed.
You can wear it with the Peaky Blinders hat and
I can wear it with the Peaky Blinders hat.
You enjoyed Tom Hardy's fan club while you're at it.
I've got
we're out of time now.
I've got my book, and I will obviously sign that. Mr. Graham will as well, and we'll send it back to you. And I want to thank everybody. I'm afraid that's all we've had time to do. There are literally
I'm not signing your book, by the way.
Another couple of dozen letters, parcels out there.
Yeah.
Keep sending them in, please, and we will keep trying to share them with you.
Yes.
On a great basis. I'm very grateful to all of you.
He's very happy. He's got some coasters, a free T-shirt, a couple of books, and some CDs.
You truly are my flock.
This is Talk Sport.
I love you.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. That Periscope video should now be available to be looked at after the fact. But if it's causing you any problems, if you missed it at the time, it's about 500 or so people looking at it while it was going out. And so that's quite a good start, similar to the Facebook ones, which have now reached something like 17,000. So,
incredible.
We are still conducting sort of social media experiments, but a couple of people said I wasn't able to see the presents being opened, but there's only one person saying that, or two people saying that. So I have to say, if you're having any problems, do get back
why
to us.
couldn't you see them being opened?
I don't know. Neil's just saying, is this unwrapping on Periscope because it's not showing up? If nobody else is saying that, so do let us know if you were able to watch it in its entirety. Becky says this: please watch out for my parcel. I'm sending Mike Parry 3 bottles of mouthwash so I can watch him open them up live.
Yes, indeed.
Of course, your 1 minute moan on Saturday on the warm up was the fact that you couldn't open the mouthwash.
Well, somebody then did a little video of opening a bottle of mouthwash, right?
Yes.
And they
which looked very straightforward, I have to say.
Except, did you see the note they sent afterwards? Sorry, Porky, I actually tampered with the bottle and cut the top of it before I took the
No, somebody
the seal
else
off.
said that had been done.
No, well, it had been. You could see from the top it had already been broken.
It wasn't said by the guy that did it.
Listen, I've got eyesight, and I can tell you it was already broken.
You've got eyesight?
Yeah.
Well, I think you have.
I'll tell you what,
Vicky says this: I detest Postman Pork.
Yeah.
It's just a ploy for the plank to get free stuff. It's outrageous and unethical.
Well, I've just seen that. I thought Vicky was a fan of ours. I thought she was a supporter of mine.
She's not a supporter of yours, obviously.
I mean, for goodness gracious, you don't think that I have deliberately started Postman Pork just so people send me free gifts, do you, Vicky? What sort of a person do you think I am?
It's beginning to look like that.
What?
Tom says, looking forward to Porky announcing which charity he's going to donate his gifts to.
Yes. Well, we'll think about it. Jason,
well, we should definitely auction that watch that we got.
Definitely, I agree.
We can't do it on the radio. We may have to do that on Twitter or something.
Well, we'll see.
What have you done? Have you already sold it?
What do you mean?
The watch.
No, I haven't sold the watch. No, definitely not. Right. Let me see. It says here, the Munchkins, drink, drugs, prostitution, orgy. Sounds like quite a night in for the two Mike. Shocking behaviour. Quite right.
It is absolutely shocking behaviour.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Now, we've got Heroes and Villains coming up in a little while, so I don't know whether you've got any selected, but hopefully you have.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Simon the Gooner in Walthamstow says, has Porky yet started to declare all of his presents to the taxman?
Of course I do. Everything goes through my account, and believe me, I pay my taxes to the penny and more.
Nico Spurs says, I absolutely love that sort of colour-changing wall you have behind you. I wonder whether it turns red when Porky starts yelling. Well, it could be like one of those mood rings, couldn't it? Have you ever seen those mood rings that change colour depending on what mood you're in?
Yes, that's right. Yes, I've seen those. Seen those. I know exactly what you're talking about.
My kids got some the other day inside, I think it was inside some kind of party gift or something like that.
Yes, is that right?
They went to a party and they got a mood ring. So you can put them on,
yeah,
and they'll tell you whether you're anxious or whether you're nervous or whether you're happy, whether you're sad.
I understand that.
Quite accurate.
Now, Jason,
I'll bring one in.
I have to say his comment is not the most original we've ever heard on this show. Great thing about doing it on Facebook or Periscope, Porky, is it shows you definitely have a face for radio.
Yes, I think there's no doubt about that.
A few times. Right, it says here from David, he says, I can't wait till I get overweight and popular like you two. Well, at least I'm halfway there. Well, you know...
What does he mean by that?
I have no idea. It says here, another one from Paul. He says, did you know Surrey was the top Rogerisation centre in the UK?
Really?
Sends me some sort of...
Says who?
Well, actually, this is nothing to boast about. It sends me a cutting from some local newspaper or something.
Oh, yeah.
Which says, dogging in Surrey.
Some local newspaper?
Yeah. It says, dogging in Surrey, number of known public sex sites falls by more than half. Oh, so it's getting less popular.
So it's going down?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's not bad, is it?
Well, that's right.
Now, I've got a story for you that I thought you might have introduced to me.
Yes.
But it was posted on Facebook a little bit earlier on today.
Oh, yes.
By one of our followers. Did you know that iron ore has topped $90 a tonne for the first time in 2 years?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Why is that, then?
Well, because China have started building again, basically. You know, they had a bit of a sort of blip there in the economy, a mini recession, but now they've decided to get on with building all the power stations, the bridges.
No, they haven't.
What?
No, it's all down to futures trading, which is being done.
That's right.
In China. So actually what they're doing is they're gambling that the demand for iron ore is going to go up.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, you said they've started building it.
Yeah, they have.
No, they haven't.
Let me tell you, before you can build a bridge, Before you can build a bridge, you have to go and find an engineer and an architect to design it.
Yes.
That's the planning stage. And once the planning stage takes off, that's when the guys in the futures market come in and start buying the iron ore. Believe me.
But don't forget that buildings collapse in London. Do you remember when half the buildings that were being built were suspended from building for about 6 months because nobody was sure? You don't remember that?
No.
The cheese grater was one of the buildings, for example, and so was the walkie-talkie at one point, where they just abandoned it for about 6 months because the prices of property were plummeting.
How long ago was this?
This was probably, 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, well, you see.
And the prices were plummeting to such an extent that they didn't want to continue with the investment of hiring all these people to build the building because they thought at the end of it there wouldn't be anybody to actually occupy it.
They'd have to knock it down again, maybe, because it wasn't built properly.
So, I mean, that can happen as well.
Yeah, I do love these Beatles coasters. I think they're brilliant. I really do.
Well, you're not going to give those away then?
No.
You're going to keep those?
Yeah, I think so.
You have no shame at all, do you? I think some of these people are right that this is just turning into some kind of, laudatory session for you.
Oh, don't be
Because you don't. I mean, there's nothing worse than somebody like you who wants to give sort of, validation all the time from people out there who are sending you gifts and presents.
Don't be ridiculous.
Makes you feel good, doesn't it?
See this one here, Parlophone, Love Me Do, right? Lennon McCartney, The Beatles, and it says recording first published 1962. Parlophone stereo, Please Please Me with I Saw Her Standing There.
I Saw Her Standing There.
Yeah, when I saw her
Great song,
standing there.
Yeah,
one
of the great Beatles songs. Yeah, don't sing it. If you're going to start singing, then I'm going to have to cancel Postman Paul.
And it's also
not an excuse to
on
sing.
this one is Ask Me Why.
Why are you singing?
Because I'm looking through these coasters.
Yeah, but
Brilliant.
I don't want you to sing, though.
Right, here we go. Parlophone, 45 RPM, Northern Songs, 1967, Strawberry Fields Forever, Lennon, McCartney, The Beatles.
Well, you're just going to read off them now.
Well, the thing is that we all know John Lennon wrote Strawberry Fields, but they always came out...
Yeah, but all of their songs said Lennon McCartney, didn't they? That was part of their deal.
Well, here, this is another contrast to it. Of course, we all know that Paul McCartney wrote Hey Jude, but this says... Northern Songs Limited, 1968, produced by George Martin. EMI recording, 45 RPM, Hey Jude, The Beatles, Lennon McCartney.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, because every song says Lennon McCartney.
It does,
It's not that amazing.
Yeah.
Apart from, of course, Maybe It's a Me. Maybe I'm Amazed, which
Maybe
doesn't
I'm
say Lennon
amazed.
McCartney.
What does it say?
Because it says McCartney.
Oh, does it?
Because it's a solo song. Well, you should know that.
Well,
you're supposed to be the expert.
That song was due to go out on Paul McCartney's first solo album called McCartney.
Yeah.
And,
but it's not a Lennon
McCartney
song, is it?
Eh?
It's not a Lennon McCartney
song. No,
it's
not, no. But they were a track short on...
so what are you going to do with these coasters, then?
Well... I mean, I want to share the generosity of our listeners and our viewers, as it is on.
We now have viewers as well. Yeah, it's true.
On
Periscope.
Periscope.
Yeah.
I want to share the generosity of our listeners and viewers. So we'll make arrangements to make sure that the.
But are you going to replace the old coasters?
The wealth is shared about.
Yeah.
We will definitely.
Well, what I'm saying is, are you going to replace the coasters that you currently use?
The coasters I currently use are actually pretty good as well.
What are they?
They're made of black slate.
Black slate?
Yes.
What, from Wales?
Yes, it is actually.
Really?
Brecon Beacon slate. Yes.
And why do you have coasters?
To put my drinks on or my hot coffee so as not to stain my tables.
Are they glass or wood?
The black slate ones are made of slate.
No, I mean the tables.
Oh, the tables are made of glass and wood.
Glass and wood?
Yes.
Well, which is it?
Well, I've got some glass tables and I've got some wooden tables.
Okay.
Okay?
How many?
I've got 1, 2, 3... I've got 4 glass tables.
Right.
And I've...
just in one place?
Yes. Yes. And
4 glass tables?
Yes.
What, 4 coffee tables?
No, I've got a glass table, which is a dining table.
Okay.
And then I've got a coffee table. I've got 2 coffee tables. And I've got a side table.
Oh, right, okay. So is it like there's more than one settee then, presumably? More than one sofa?
Yes, there's 2 at right angles to each other with a table in between and a coffee table in front.
Yes, okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
All right.
And in my other abode...
Have they got anything written on them, these coasters?
No, they're glass ones, actually.
Glass coasters?
Yeah, glass.
I thought you said they were slate.
But they're slate in my other abode.
What, in Portsmouth?
No, in Stockbroker Belt, they're slate.
What?
They're slate in Stockbroker Belt.
Right. Yeah. Well, where are the glass ones then?
They're on the coast.
I see.
Coasters.
Coasters on the coast. Very good.
Right, yeah.
Right, coming up, heroes and villains. can only mean one thing, and that is, of course, that Heroes and Villains is underway. As I said, it's 3-1 currently. We drew one a couple of weeks ago. But this is where Mr. Parry gives me 2 heroes and 2 villains.
Yes.
I give him 2 of mine and 2 villains as well. And then the producer, Dave, decides which of those 4 is better, basically. So would you like to go first this morning?
Yes, I'll go first.
All right.
Shall I go first with a hero?
Why don't you go first with a hero?
Right, I'm going to go first with a hero. Now, this hero I'm going to nominate is the most suitable and most deserving hero that we've done in the whole of this competition.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's Jermaine Defoe, who goes to hospital to see a little boy called Bradley Lowry, who is suffering terminal cancer in the form of neuroblastoma, which is a terrible, disease which afflicts children, not many of them, unfortunately, but the poor little boy has terminal illness. And he goes with a load of other Sunderland players, and the little boy is so excited. And Jermaine Defoe's his favourite player. Jermaine says, yes, of course, I'll stay a bit longer. And he sits on his bed, and the little boy falls asleep on Jermaine Defoe's shoulder. So Jermaine Defoe stays then for hours, literally.
Yeah,
until,
I saw the picture.
Until the little boy's woken up again. And it was very, very touching indeed. And you have to say that footballers are often maligned for, being wealthy young men without a sense of responsibility. That brought tears to my eye.
Did it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What an absolutely and utterly disgraceful suggestion to make. But anyway, we'll move on.
Sorry, don't you think that's heroic?
Yes, I do.
I do as well.
But every time you're clutching at straws, you always try and put in some kind of, charitable type thing.
No. That was it. I mean, what did you want me to say? That I thought it was
I thought
average?
you'd do the Queen again.
I thought it was brilliant.
I thought you'd do the Queen again.
No. Brilliant.
Anyway, I'm going to start with one of my villains, and it is, of course, Adele.
Right.
Adele at the Grammys, making a complete and utter fool
She was
of
on my
herself.
list, I have to say.
Well, I mean, you might say it's fairly obvious, but I was the one who sort of brought it up first, so I thought I should claim it.
Yes.
And this idea that she is the girl next door with just the same kind of lifestyle as everybody else, and it's all getting a bit thin now. And as much as I do like her music, she's got a beautiful singing voice. She really does milk this whole kind of Cockney girl done good. And it's starting to wear very, very thin.
Well, thin and washing up.
I was just doing the washing up while I was having a bit of a Chinese takeaway. Yeah, right, of course you were. $95 million or £95 million contract that she just signed over in the West Coast. So give it a rest, darling, is what I would say. Adele.
It's a bit sexist, isn't it? Give her a rest, darling.
Why?
Well, people have been, accused of sexism, being so dismissive in their attitude towards women.
I call lots of people darling, including men.
Okay, right, okay. So now I will go for my first villain.
Yes.
And my first villain, without shadow of a doubt, is Mr. Vichai Srivadhan Prabhaba.
Very well pronounced.
Thank you very much indeed. Leicester chairman, Leicester owner, and the reason why he has to be a villain is that he simply did not see the rapid and massive decline that would take place in Leicester if he didn't change the manager last summer. He didn't do that. He allowed the best player to go. Didn't inject enough new blood into the team. Stuck with a manager who was almost.
Blaming him now.
I'm blaming him. He's the man who controls the club. He actually owns it. He bought it. He owns it. I'm afraid the inertia at Leicester last summer was always going to cause him problems. It started increasingly causing problems, and he hasn't done anything through the season. And now he's left in the invidious position of perhaps having to sack Claudio Ranieri for the last 12 games of the season to save his club from going down the season after they're champions.
Right.
He has to be a loser.
Okay. He's not a loser, though. He's a villain.
Villain, sorry,
That's not a problem.
Hero Jermaine Defoe, villain Mr. Vichai Srivadhan Prabhaba.
Very good. For saying it twice. Now, my first hero is going to be Joe Root. I know that you think he's too young to be captain of England. I know that you think that it's way too much pressure on his shoulders. But I'm very, very happy that this young man, who isn't that young, by the way, has decided 3 years after Michael Atherton was given the captaincy of England, in terms of his age, has decided to grasp the nettle.
Right.
And he's taken the absolutely heroic stance of saying, well, if I'm offered the job, then I'm not going to turn it down and say, sorry, can I have it in 4 years, please, when I'm a bit more mature?
Well, I would
because that would be incredibly arrogant, expecting to be given a job which nobody knows whether he can do now, never mind in 4 years' time.
Yes.
And it would also be very disrespectful to an organisation that he's played for and he's paid very well by over the last few years. So I think Joe Root has grasped the nettle, he's taken the bull by the horns, and I think he's going to do very well. Therefore, I think he's a great choice and a great hero.
Well, I think that he could have done diplomatically by saying, look, if I'm still in the consideration in 4 years' time, maybe it'll be better then. But anyway, he's your hero. I have to say, I think to choose a New England captain as a hero is an example of the blinking obvious, but there we go.
Well, that's what you say. But I mean, he's been under pressure from the likes of people like you, telling him all week long that he's too young, he hasn't got enough experience, it's going to ruin him as a cricketer. And I think in the face of all of that criticism, he's done very well.
I think I was the only one who really spoke up on that issue because I represent the silent majority.
Because nobody else agreed.
I'm going to give you my second villain now.
Go on.
And you're going to be astonished.
Okay.
Do you know who it is?
I've no idea who it is.
Lukaku.
You're going to make Lukaku a villain?
I am going to make Lukaku a villain.
Really?
And my thinking is this, that he scored a fantastic hat-trick against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Boy's on fire, his boots are on fire. Expect him to go to Middlesbrough, who are on a great team in the Premier League, and keep going. But although I wasn't at the game, I read all the reports, spoke to friends.
I think it was about the most boring game of the weekend,
who were there, and there was something lacklustre about it. And I love Everton to bits, but you've got to sometimes wake up to the reality. Were they, I don't know, were they resting on the laurels after such a terrific victory the week before?
Well, I did say, normally when he scores a hat-trick, he doesn't do anything the following week.
And Lukaku is our talisman, and he's the record goal scorer, leading goal scorer in the Premier League as he went out onto the pitch that day, and I wish he had extended it. So I'm sorry, but, gritting my teeth and biting my tongue, I have to say Lukaku.
Terribly disloyal of you as an Everton fan, but understandable nonetheless. I'm going to go with football as well on the final villain for me, and it is Tyrone Mings.
Yes.
You know why Tyrone Mings is a villain? Not least because he's got a fantastic name.
Yes.
I love his name, and I just wanted to say it. And it's a lot easier to say than the Leicester chairman.
Yes.
This is a guy who was playing for Bournemouth last night against Manchester City.
Yes.
Right? Sergio Aguero has to come on because Jesus got some kind of ankle injury about sort of 15 minutes into the game.
That's right.
And Sergio Aguero, who, as you know, has been under a bit of pressure at Manchester City for, not getting into the first team very often and maybe not scoring as many goals as Pep Guardiola would like, not working as hard.
Yes.
He gets the opportunity to get what would be the clinching goal for 2-0, right?
Yeah.
And it gets taken away from him because it turns out that Tyrone Mings turned it into his own net.
That's right.
So despite the fact that everyone went, look at this, what a fairy tale ending for Sergio Aguero, just when he thought that, it was all turning to something rather unpleasant.
Ashes
I nearly said the wrong word there for a second. At Manchester City with Pep Guardiola, and he might be moving on. He comes on, super sub, scores the goal that seals the match. And now it turns out that's not the story. Because he didn't score the goal. So I'm going to blame Tyrone Mings for getting his leg in the way, scoring the goal as an own goal, and therefore making sure that Sergio Aguero is still basically in limbo at Manchester City.
So he's a villain?
He is.
Right, okay.
Those are my two villains, Adele and Tyrone Mings. My heroes, Joe Root and Owen Farrell.
Yes, okay.
Have I done him yet?
Sorry?
Maybe I haven't done him yet.
Who?
Owen Farrell.
I haven't heard about Owen Farrell
yet. I haven't done him yet.
No.
He's my other hero.
Right, okay, well...
So you must have to do anotdo villain then.
No, I've got to do another hero. I've done my villains.
Okay.
I've done Lukaku, and I've done Mr. Sriv Adhan Ap Prapraba, the... what do you keep laughing for?
Well, because that's the third time you said it.
The Leicester chairman. And my second hero, right,
and
I think this is a great one, is Liz Truss.
Liz Truss.
Liz Truss.
Okay.
She is the Justice Minister of this country. She has been under enormous pressure over the last few months to empty the jails. She's been told there's too many prisoners.
Yeah.
She's been told that we don't have enough prison staff to look after them. She has come out today and said quite categorically, if people offend in this country, they go to prison. We do not let people out just because the prison sector is under strain. We keep people in prison because...
Well, they don't actually, though, do they? They're always letting people out.
No. She has said quite clearly, we're not letting people out early just because...
But they always let people out.
Can you just shut up, please? Because I'm telling you what she's said. She has said... I'm the Justice Minister. People stay in prison if they've committed crimes in this country. I will not do a U-turn on that.
Really?
That, to me, as a woman, standing up for the silent majority, standing up for this country, standing up for its citizens, Justice Minister Liz Truss, a hero.
Absolutely ridiculous.
No, it's not.
Because they're always letting people out early. We know that. Well, they might not be letting them out early because the conditions aren't very good, but they do it all the time.
No, you're wrong. She's a Justice Minister. She can't answer for previous Justice Ministers.
Yeah, but they do it now.
She's saying
they still do
they're not getting out.
Well, the problem is,
she's not going to let them out.
I was truly shocked when I saw a report yesterday where there was this inside a prison video camera going around.
Yes.
And it turns out the prison's run by Sodexo. They're a catering company. What on earth are they doing running a prison?
Because we now farm out the management of the prisons.
But surely not to a catering company.
Well, to security companies.
You might as well have it run by Subway.
No, all this kind of stuff. Anyway, that's irrelevant. It's Justice Minister Liz Truss saying villains stay in jail. That's great.
Yeah.
We all want to hear that.
Well, if only it was true, that might be worthwhile. Now, my second hero, as I mentioned, is Owen Farrell. who had a fantastic game against Wales at the weekend, right? As I said earlier, it looked as though Wales were just going to be able to tip them to the victory, but actually England managed to win it 21-16. At the end of the game, England did by far look the better team. But one of the reasons that Owen Farrell deserves to get to heroic status is that he's only 25, right? He's only a year younger than Joe Root. But he was smashed by Wales's Moriarty very early on in the game in a completely, late tackle. And actually, his reaction to it caused the referee to make the decision that he made.
Right.
Because under normal circs, it might have been a sin bin type situation, right?
Yeah.
Because he was taken out really at halfway between his groin and his chest, and winded to the extent that he, might not have got up if he was a lesser strong person.
Yes.
But he got up and he just kind of shook it off and realised, this is England-Wales at Cardiff. I'm going to get hit like that once in a while. He didn't complain. He gave a little wry smile afterwards and sort of almost patted the Welsh guy on the back for taking him out, even though it was an illegal move. But he's also now going to be the captain. You mentioned earlier, Dylan Hartley. He's going to be the captain for England against Wales. Against Italy in the next game. And I think he's made himself into a very, very important player for England, and of course for the All Blacks tour of the British and Irish Lions coming up shortly.
Well, with that long and rambling explanation...
No, that's not long and rambling. That's a description of the guy's career, his appearance on Saturday, and how important he is to the team of England in rugby union.
He hasn't done nearly enough to be considered a hero, I'm sorry.
Well, I disagree. I disagree.
Enough.
Well, he's about to be the England captain, so I think that's done certainly enough in Eddie Jones's eyes. Anyway.
About to be.
Yeah. Well, same as Joe Root.
Well,
about to be the England captain.
Yeah, well, you keep...
Pair of heroes.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've picked two so obvious, but anyway,
it's up to us.
It's up for the adjudicator to decide.
The adjudicators behind the glass.
Jermaine Defoe, of course,
decide.
is the hero of heroes, what he did for the little boy with that horrible disease.
Shocking.
And, of course, Liz Truss, who's keeping villains in jail. They're my heroes.
Yeah, if you live anywhere near a jail, you'll know how well that's working. This is Talk Sport. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. It'll be Ask Porky tomorrow, of course. Maybe we'll do that on Facebook Live, if you like. I mean, you never know.
What is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Ask Porky.
Ask Porky, that's right, yeah. We could do that.
There's a clamour for us to put out something from each show.
Indeed.
If you want to look at last week's Porky quiz, by the way, you can do that. It's on Facebook right now.
Right.
And also, tonight, we were filming Postman Pork. There's somebody trying to hand you something.
Something's being handed
David's
to me here.
trying to hand
Thank you.
Well, just don't open it yet, though.
I won't open it yet. I'm not going to open it yet.
So I want to read a few tweets to you. So it's going to be remain secret, right?
Yeah. How do people feel about the heroes and villains? That's what I want to know before I open the envelope.
Well, Gavin says, Porky is a fool. Lukaku as a villain. Didn't even watch the game. #plank. No. Lee says, Porky shocks me turning on his own players. No. Scott says, his face is red, his scarf is blue. Now he's turned on Lukaku.
No, I'm just being honest and open.
Yeah. Absolutely incredible. And then here's one from Phil. He says, I'm a huge fan of the two mics, but one feature I definitely turn off for is Postman Pork.
Yeah.
Please change it.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
Maybe sickened by the grasping nature of your sort of...
well, everybody else seems to like it.
Materialism.
Everybody else likes it.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm not. It's not up to me to change.
What about your T-shirt then? What are you going to do with that?
What T-shirt?
Your T-shirt from Taboo.
That's not my T-shirt.
Hang on, I gave you a present of something. What was it?
You gave me a record.
Oh, record. There you go. What about your record?
What you gave me? Well, I'll take it home, give it a listen, and see whether it's any good.
Oh, so it's all right. You taking,
well, this is not a gift.
Present. Oh, what is it?
This is not a gift. This is somebody sending me an album to see whether or not I think it's any good.
Yeah, well, that's what I've been sent. I've been sent stuff to test drive and that sort of stuff. Yeah,
some coasters.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, right. See if they work, and if they do, I'll report back.
And a T-shirt which you can't really test drive. It either fits you. What size is it anyway? Is it going to fit you?
It's the X size.
X size.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Customs and X size is what you'd be looking out for.
Right, I think it's time to open the
Dave Levine is here. He'll be telling us in a moment precisely why he voted in the way that he did.
Right.
Who is the winner, please?
Right, I'm going to open the envelope. There's a slip inside. I take it out, and the winner is...
Who?
Mike.
Mike who? There's two mics. It's called the two mics.
Well, I can't believe
I can judge by your reaction that it's not you.
It says Graham. I mean, I'm turning this up because that is just fixed.
Sorry. Is it fixed?
It's fixed.
Why is it fixed?
What about Jermaine Defoe, the kindest footballer in the history of football?
Well, maybe...
Who looked after that little boy. That brought tears to people's eyes.
Maybe Dave thought it was a bit of a cynical entry.
No, it was cynical. It was because Jermaine Defoe did something marvellous, and he is the hero of the weekend, and he should have been on the winning side. That's a disgrace.
Well, perhaps he can explain why.
You did have the outstanding hero in Jermaine Defoe,
yes.
and the Leicester chairman wasn't bad.
Yes.
But Lukaku, who played well in an Everton performance that you didn't actually watch, and he got 4 last week, not a hat-trick, so 4 goals in 2 games is a great return. So to turn on him is quite ludicrous.
I didn't turn him. I was being factual, that's all.
MG, Tyrone Mings, not that bothered. Adele, great. Joe Root, great. And Owen Farrell's what clinched it for you.
Oh, it's so obvious, those. Okay,
going into the last 2 where you went to the Justice Minister.
The Justice Minister who keeps people locked up, really?
Yeah, well, we all want villains locked up in this country.
Well, you might want them locked up, but that's not what they're doing.
Ridiculous.
They're always letting them out.
Well,
I mean, how many
this
times?
is 2 weeks in a row when you've gone into the last one leading. Maybe just shore up your 4th one.
Statement of the blinking obvious, honest to God.
So there you are,
Makes me sick. I want to throw up in my bin.
Don't be disgusting.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's no room in it because you've been throwing all your paper out there. Thank you very much, Mr. Levine. So that makes it 4-1 to me.
Push off, Levine.
4-1 to me. There's no need to be rude.
Yeah.
Now, here's a story for you of our times, right?
Yes.
And you may have seen this, but it's a shocking story. And this is about the woman who, at the age of 17, won £1 million from Euro Millions.
Yeah, I've seen that,
And she's now going to sue the lottery for allowing her to win it and thereby ruining her life.
But
I mean, have you ever heard of such nonsense?
She has suddenly found out she can't sue the lottery. Do you know why?
Why?
Because the age limit 17 was not introduced by the lottery. It was introduced by government gaming legislation.
Oh, right. So she's going to have to sue the government
Absolutely,
now.
Absolutely. So
but I mean, how ridiculous is this?
Well, it can change your life, and she says for the worse. And people are always saying that, I mean, the first woman ever to say it was old Viv, what's her name, wasn't it?
And the spend woman.
Spend. I'm going to spend. She only won 154,000, but it was like $1.5 million.
Well, that was a lot of money in those days.
That's right, yeah.
But, I mean, the point is about this story, and this is where I take issue with some of the so-called millennials that exist out there, is they think everything's somebody's fault.
Yeah.
Things happen to people,
I know.
and they're not always somebody's fault.
Terrible.
Sometimes it just happens like that, and I don't think most people sitting out there as Ken Loach describes it, crippling poverty, are going to have much sympathy for a woman who won £1 million and said she's now more miserable than before when she was poor.
And it ruined her life.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Yes, I tell you what I want to talk to you about. Your dog, of course, Ziggy, is a beautiful Labrador.
He is beautiful. I put out a great picture of him, actually,
I saw it
over
the weekend.
Because he was sitting there just staring at me. And I thought,
facial.
I'm going to frame this picture.
Yes, that's right. It's
because
great.
he's a magnificent-looking dog.
He is magnificent. Now, some of my research has discovered that, actually... the Labrador is no longer the favourite dog of the English sort of chattering classes. Oh, yeah. It is, in fact, a French bulldog.
Oh, is it?
And the French...
Yeah, that's the sort of trendy dog to have.
Well, exactly. Beloved of Hollywood celebrities, the French bulldogs, because there's a number of them...
Yeah, I'm not a fan of them.
...are now on course to overtake Labradors as Britain's favourite breed by then next year, according to the Kennel Club. But they're so ugly. That's what I can't get. Why would anybody want... I'm going to show you a picture of them.
I've seen one, yeah.
There's 4 of them there, right?
Yeah.
Look how ugly they are.
Do you know who wants one of these dogs?
Who?
My daughter.
Your daughter?
She thinks they're wonderful-looking things. I think they're ghastly.
Are you talking about your daughter, Emma?
Yes, of course. I've only got one daughter.
But they're so ugly. I mean, I just can't believe it. A Labrador has a lovely, lovable little face, and these are so literally pug ugly.
They are.
I just don't know how
apparently that's their attraction.
I'm going to take a picture of these dogs and put it out and say to people, do you prefer these dogs to Ziggy or Ziggy to these dogs?
Well,
it's
I mean,
ridiculous.
everyone's got their own taste, but the trouble is, of course, as well, that they're very interbred, some of these dogs, apparently. And
yeah, that's right.
I was sitting on a park bench one day with the dog, and another guy came past and sat down, and he had one of these dogs, right?
Yes.
And it was making the most horrendous kind of wheezing sound.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, has your dog got a cold?
Yeah.
And he said, no, that's what their breathing sounds like, because they've got a sort of a slightly, over time, their nasal passages have been sort of crunched down to such an extent that they can't breathe properly.
It's disgraceful. It says here, Caroline Kisco, the Kennel Club secretary, said, while the French Bulldog is a lovely breed, it is very unwise for anyone to buy one simply because they think it looks cute or is a fashionable choice. Anyone doing so could inadvertently be contributing to an impending welfare crisis.
Yes, quite right.
The breed is a favourite of celebrities who often flaunt them on their Instagram, Twitter accounts for people to coo over. But while it's normal to want to show off your dog when celebrities do it, usually results in a surge in popularity of certain breeds, which is not a good thing, as it opens the doors to what you just said, unscrupulous breeders who see it as an opportunity to breed lots of them without due care to health and welfare.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. It's an unfortunate thing. And also, like all these fads, they come and they go. So in a couple of years' time.
That's right.
There'll be loads of these dogs around.
That's
and
right.
nobody will want them.
That's right.
Hideous.
Absolutely right. And I think it's absolutely disgraceful because they look so ugly as well. You won't be surprised to know celebrity owners of the French Bulldog, Victoria Beckham, Holly Willoughby, Lady Gaga.
Yes, there we are. That tells you everything you need to know.
Well, not really. I think all three ladies are very successful in life and they deserve to make their own choice. But why not a little Labrador?
Well, why have they all got the same dog?
Well, I don't know.
That's the problem, isn't it? It tells you that they're not really that interested in dogs. They're more interested in being trendy.
Well, maybe.
Now, what about Mark Clattenburg, right? There's a story on the back page of one of the papers today.
That's right.
We were talking about this only a few weeks ago with Steve Parrish at Crystal Palace. When is this drain of not just players, but managers and officials and everything else going to happen? And, of course, this is a refereeing story because Mark Clattenburg apparently is threatening to quit the Premier League this year because he's understood to be fed up with all of the scrutiny which he has to be under every single game that he referees.
Well, that's the price of success, I'm afraid.
At the age of 41, he's thinking he might pop off to the Middle East or China or possibly the United States.
Yeah. Well, that's all very well, but I mean, I would advocate that, just like it's good to be Prime Minister when you're in the House of Commons, as David Cameron will know, and dreadful when you're not because you're out in the cold. I would say that if you give up the position as Britain's top referee, where every weekend is either an Anfield or an Old Trafford or a Stamford Bridge experience.
And he does very well in the international tournament.
Does very well in the international tournaments. He's got the 3 tattoos for the 3 biggest games in the world that he refereed, no problem at all. So you're giving up as well. You're absolutely right. You're giving up, the Bernabeu and the new camp and the Alliance.
Presumably the Russian World Cup.
And the Russian World Cup. And why would you do that and go off and work in, like, what I would call party football rather than highest professional league in the world?
Yeah, as much as I've defended the MLS and how it's much better than it used to be, it's still not the Premier League. It's not the Champions League. And China and the Middle East is, as you say, I wouldn't call it party football, but it's not real, is it?
Well, it's not real at all. It's not nowhere near real. No, I totally agree.
Now, tomorrow, we're going to do Ask Porky.
Ask Porky.
So if you want to send any Ask Porkies in, send them at the 2 mics and put the hashtag Ask Porky.
That's right.
And we can get some of those done possibly before the close of play this morning. And then, of course, it's Porky Vision. And then the Porky Quiz. I don't know what the Porky Quiz is going to be this week.
Porky Quiz, I've got an idea or two.
We can worry about it later.
Idea or two.
And as well, for those of you who don't know how to use it or haven't tried, have a look at Periscope, have a look at our Twitter feed. We'll try and retweet it out as well. I might try and put it on YouTube. The Postman Pork from today. From this show will be available for you to have a look at again.
Indeed.
This is Talk Sport. We'll be back tomorrow.
Indeed. We went to Penzance because we thought we'd see some pirates, and it was a dump. Absolute pit.
Went to Penzance to see if there were any